now they can see us, Sam. They found us.
Oh boy.
We're on the internet.
You can find anything on the internet these days. This is something you would be depressed to find if it's not what you were looking for.
Oh man. Okay. I feel like I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, you're a little rusty. I'm a little me, so it's going to be interesting.
Oh boy. I took like what? It's been 3 weeks, I think. Hey, it's that guy.
Of fucking course.
It's been like 3 weeks since I've done one, which is probably not good.
That's a while for you.
Yeah, but I had a dog at one point, and now I don't.
I am sorry for that. The dog is not dead. We should clarify that for people. I did end up having to tell a couple people about the dog for you, because a couple people were like, when I went to go to work, they're like, I can't wait to see Joe's puppy. I'm like, well, this is an awkward start to my day. I was like, maybe don't ask him about that right away. They're like, oh, is he sick? I'm like, nah. If he is, Joe doesn't know about it anymore.
Oh, man. That was super weird because, like, I expected people to be, like, more torn up about it than me. But it's
because I broke the news to him for you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have with some of those people.
I want to know who you did now.
I mean, I could tell you, but my views on this show do not reflect the views of the company that I work for. They are no way aligned with each other.
I make it a point never to say where.
Yeah. I tried to avoid it. It was just some people in the back.
They live with people from back. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. Actually, that's pretty good because like I remember walking into work, and people were like, "Oh, somebody was like, oh, how's the puppy?" And I was just like, "Ooh, well about that.
This is a little fresh."
Yeah, and I'd explain it to them. I guess I should probably explain it to chat too because they've seen it on that one stream. But no, He gone. He's no longer with us. Not dead. I did word that specifically that way. But no, I had to give him back up for adoption. Basically, I live a very busy life, and that life does not afford me the time to take care of a puppy properly. So I did what I thought was the right call and put him back up for adoption. But yeah.
Too busy taking care of grown-ass adults half the time, so
that's true.
It's quite a lifestyle.
It is true. Taking care of them and then taking their money.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's that actually sounds way worse than
I was actually thinking about that earlier today when I was telling you about someone being upset about the price of something. I love that it's those same people usually. Not always. I don't want to make any rash generalizations yet. We're going to get to those later on.
Those exist.
It's a lot of those same people that are like, capitalism is the only way. I'm like, you actually hate capitalism. You just like saying that because this is capitalism prime right here is me selling your shit back for a profit and you hate it.
Yeah.
You hate it.
It's my favorite thing is when people are like, oh, I want it. They saw the price that we give them for it. And then they come up and they bring you the thing, and then when they bring you the thing,
why is it so little?
They're like, why is it so low? And I'm like, you saw the price before.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed from the time you typed these in to the time I handed you the cash, and your tear ducts began to overwhelm your body.
Was it
nothing changed?
Was it cognitive dissonance?
Yeah, there was some cognitive dissonance there.
Oh man,
some selective visual cues.
So I guess first things first, business wise, podcast wise, this is still the fourth podcast I've done live. And the only reason I say that is for the people that are listening to this on Spotify and they're listening to it on YouTube, so they realize that there's a chat element to it. If there's even chat. I mean, sometimes there's like not that many people.
There is
here.
someone in the chat right now.
Oh, okay, cool. That's nice.
I know who it is.
I know who it is too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's live. You can catch the live streams at twitch.tv/justjoyo if you want to. You don't have to. I make it so that I am the chat. Look at me.
He is. You're powerful, bud.
But yeah. I started doing these live because I like playing video games. It's fun, but also I don't know how I feel about playing video games like as my only thing that I stream.
Yeah, that sounds.
It's not. I don't know.
It's good to diversify yourself a little bit. Yeah. Also, I feel like if you do anything, especially something you're passionate about, so much so that it becomes like a focal point of your life, you do tend to lose a lot of that passion over time. Yeah. Like that's happened with me multiple times with music. It's like anytime I would be in a band, and not that I was ever in any bands that were like successful, so to speak, but like even when it would start to generate like some revenue, even if that revenue was just like, I have a free bar tab, which was very significant to me at one point in my life. Extremely. Yeah. But like when it becomes something that like you kind of need to do for one reason or another, even if it's like, I need to stay on this schedule so that I can stay consistent. Yeah. You tend to view it more from a business perspective and less of like, I'm doing this because I love it perspective. Yeah.
That's what happened to my first channel.
Yeah, I think if you branch out, it at least slows that down some.
Yeah, I think streaming streaming just games is definitely at that like very low point for me right now. Like I don't, it's not something that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go home and stream. Yeah, or I may say that or think that in my head, and then when I get home, I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, it seemed like a great idea at the time, and then it lost all of its appeal somewhere on the way.
Somewhere in my car, I was just like, what if I just didn't do that and just played Warframe?
What if I just play a different game that no one wants to watch, and then I just act like a normal human? Yeah, that would be insane.
It's a lot nicer. Yeah, but that's why I do like the cooking streams and like this kind of stuff, because it's like, this is fun. I like this. But I don't think I've ever talked to you about like your music background at all, ever.
Yeah, so I mean, we could definitely talk about that. I was brought up in a musical family. My mom was a piano teacher for 20 years. My dad actually was pretty fortunate and just talented with being a moderately successful singer, songwriter, and frontman of a band in the 80s. And he only stopped because my parents started having kids. He stopped shortly after my sister was born, which she's 10 years old.
How many siblings do you have?
2. I have an older brother and an older sister. I'm the youngest of 3.
Okay.
My sister's 10 years older than me, and my brother's 7 years older. So essentially, he just wanted a more stable upbringing for us. So he sold the rights to all of his songs to a company called, I'm pretty sure I can say it. It's called Amoeba Records. Okay. Yeah, they're just like a local label based out of, I think, Jacksonville, maybe. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he still practices, and he actually still plays in a band now, even though he's in I should say even though like music has no age limitation, but he's my dad's in his 60s and he still plays in bands on the weekends and stuff. He kind of took that route we were just talking about. It was becoming, I think, for him more of like, I need to do this as a source of income. He stepped away from it for a long time, and then he came back to it because he just genuinely loves making and playing music. So now he just does it on the weekends when he has free time. Not right now because COVID. My dad is not irresponsible. He's not playing in any bars now.
We are in Florida, so
yeah, he probably could be.
Yeah, I'm sure most people would expect him to.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so that's how I was brought up. I played in orchestra in middle school, and I took a keyboard class, and then I played in jazz band all throughout high school, and then I just played in like shitty punk bands and like weird fusion bands and stuff in like my early 20s, and then I was like, hey, I'm moving out of my parents, and this is actually a bar tab doesn't pay your rent. It's insane.
It's like, what if I just don't get any drinks and you guys pay
real money? That's a crazy concept to bookers, dude. Let me tell you. No. Absolutely not. They're like, you can have whiskey instead of beer if you want. You're like, that sounds worse.
My life would be worse.
Yeah, I have to get up in the morning for my real person job.
I always wonder if I was supposed to do that. I guess that's a weird thing to say. I guess I didn't do it, so I wasn't supposed to. But I grew up with music as being like a kind of like, not focal thing, but like it was pretty prevalent.
A prominent part of your life, yeah.
But somewhere along the way, I just didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like, so I played in like a band, and then I would sing a lot. And then I got a guitar because I was like, I'm gonna learn how to play guitar. I've had that guitar.
I have seen a guitar in your room.
It exists.
Yeah,
it is
exist.
there. I've had that guitar for 12 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how to play guitar, Sam.
Oh, I don't. I mean,
so like,
I was thinking about this the other day. Like, you and I are pretty much the same age. We're about a year apart. I think our parents are around the same generation at least. I think when we grew up, even with like interest and hobbies, I feel like there was this certain expectation to focus on one thing and be as good as possible about that, even if you knew you weren't going to do anything with it professionally.
Yeah.
And I very much had that mindset growing up. Like, I would get depressed or upset if I felt like my music skills were not where they should be. That's not how you should feel about something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So I think, like, when people are like, oh, I feel like I missed out by not pursuing music, I'm like, you probably didn't.
Yeah.
Because it's a world full of, like, rejection and, like, bullshit politics and stuff, even in, like, a local level. Like, there's so many, like, absolutely ridiculous things you have to deal with if you want to play music.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
So, like, on one hand, like, yeah, you maybe missed out by, like, not having the enrichment of, like, that outlet. Because I think it's great for that if you just see it as, like, a passion thing. And it's a great way to express yourself without having to have a conversation with anyone. But I definitely feel like music especially is this huge, like, gateway of disappointment for so many people. Because the world, especially, like, when MTV was a huge thing, set out this, like, this thing of, like, anyone can play music. And no, that's not true.
That's actually
there are definitely a lot of people right now that play music that shouldn't. But there's also a lot of people that should be playing music professionally that never will. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a lot of that stuff. Like, so, like, I have a lot of.
I think when you're an adult, man, you should try everything that you want to try.
Well, my things were more when I was an adult. So, like, I remember, I guess when I was in high school was at the peak of, like, me doing a bunch of different shit. Like, I was.
That's a great time for it too, because you're really just finding out who you are, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I ran track. I was on the weightlifting team. I was on the golf team. I was the captain of the golf team. I was in ROTC for 5 years at that point. Like, I'd done
Florida.
Oh no, I was in South Carolina. Yeah. But I remember a moment where I was the captain of the golf team, but I had just some trash games back to back, and I was like, "Fuck this! Yeah, I'm not good enough at this."
Yeah,
and
then you get frustrated.
Yeah, and now I think back, I was like, maybe I should have stuck with it. I still have my clubs and stuff, and I still can play, but
it's a catch-22 because there's always that side of, like, oh, maybe if I had stuck with it, I would have gotten better and enjoyed it more. But it's also like, I don't know, man, if you're not enjoying something, especially something that's supposed to be a luxury, is it worth doing?
Also, I do the longer I've been in Florida, the less I've thought, oh, you know, that golf course, that looks like a lot of fun, I'll go over there and do that. Like,
that shit's hot, bud. Let me tell you,
it's hot. It's expensive.
It's really expensive in Florida.
It's just, I was like, what? Why would I do that?
Even if you can find a course that's like the entry fee or whatever is not super expensive, you know you're gonna drink when you're driving that golf cart. They're gonna charge you $9 for that White Claw, bud.
Damn, dude, that sounds like a rough day.
I mean,
I want to play again. I do. I really do.
It's a lot of fun if you go with, like, a group of friends
people,
and you don't take it seriously. The minute somebody gets competitive, you're like, oh, my fuck. All right. How much is the liquor? How much is the mini mar? Give me that.
The unfortunate thing is I think I might be that friend. I might be the person.
You get competitive?
I'm a very competitive person.
I mean, it's
for some things. There's some things.
It's funny, bud.
It's very, like, I get it with very niche things.
Yeah.
I'm not competitive when it comes to some things that most people are competitive about. Mm-hmm. But there are some things I'm like, oh, I want to win. Like
football, right?
No.
You care a lot about
I don't give a
football.
shit about that.
I know.
I do care a lot about MMA.
Watched the game last night?
Oh, I just remember what you were referencing. It took me a second. How about that game last night? I think, who was playing? Because he said the team name. And just assume
probably like the Browns or something.
It might have been,
or like, I was about to say the Cavaliers. I'm like, that's basketball. That tells you how much I watch.
God, I was such fun. That, stuff like that has happened before, like where people just assume
you watch sports.
Yeah, assume. Well,
or a certain sport,
just certain sports or certain things. They just assume. And I'm just like, Nah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you would think that.
So as you know, I dated someone for a long time that was, her and her mom, I don't know if I've ever told you this, were insane about college football, specifically Auburn.
I feel like that's even more
crazy. Dude, it's so toxic. So, like, we would go out together, like, to watch the games sometimes. Like, we would go to a sports bar.
Yeah.
And because we're clearly together, this guy's like, man, this ref, right? What are these calls? I'm like, dude, I'm just here to get drunk, bro. Like, I'm trying to, get lucky after this. Yeah. Like, I'm here as a commitment because I'm in a relationship with this person.
I don't give a shit about this.
I haven't been watching this football game the whole time. Futurama's on the other TV.
Oh, man. I remember there was a point in time where myself, my brother, and my mom owned shares in an arena football team.
Uh-huh.
The only reason I was excited about was because we had, like, the fucking VIP booth. And we would just go in there, and I would just turn something else on the TV.
That's pretty dope.
While they were playing, and I would just get free food.
Was it that team that was owned by Gene Simmons of Kiss?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, he owned an arena football team at one point.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wonder if arena football is still going on. It has to not be. It can't be.
Like, because of Corona, or just like in general, you mean?
I just feel like in general, it just can't be. There's no way that people are still watching that kind of thing.
You're not trying to become famous?
Nah.
Interesting.
Gotta ban these boys. And my mod's not here. My boy, Corey. Yeah, Corey.
I do like this most recent comment.
Oh,
are we allowed to say what's going on in the comments section?
Yeah.
This person said college football is the most toxic community ever experienced, and I've played League of Legends for the last 6 years. They got 118 characters. What does that tell you?
God damn it, dude! I didn't realize how bad like League of Legends was until recently, because I stopped playing it for a while.
You guys friends are? Who is this? I need this.
Oh, this is good. I didn't know. So the beauty of this is now that we're live, we have Twitch chat, and I love Twitch chat so much.
This is incredible. Like, I definitely want to talk about the stuff we were going to talk about, but this is like its own thing in and of itself.
Oh no, this is fine. We can stay here for a second. This is exactly what happened when this is exactly
I ship it.
This is exactly what happened when I had Leia on, and people were just like, "Y'all fucking like." So
I mean, but yeah,
this is different, obviously. But it's also funny.
So essentially, for you guys that aren't in the chat, the same question was essentially just posed. Someone asked if we're friends or maybe something more. No judgment. I'm glad to hear that you're progressive. That's important. We're trying to move this country in the right direction, right, guys?
Oh my god!
Only different because you are fucking. You right. You
the
got
best
it.
part is I know who these people.
I bet you do.
So like I don't know who this guy is, but I do know who
they're powerful.
Triumph is.
Yeah, because they don't probably someone that doesn't normally watch the stream, and they're like, I see an opportunity.
Like, I got this.
I'm gonna seize it.
Oh no, I've emboldened them,
dude. You're trying.
I've emboldened them.
What's happening here?
They want to make sure They want me to become famous. Is what they want, and I mean, I appreciate it.
They saw the Buns and Brownies podcast.
Dude, it was good,
and they saw an opportunity. They're like, "You're obviously a professional brander already." Yeah. So,
dude, I've seen that happen on Instagram. Like, not just with some of my stuff, but like I've seen some of my friends. They'll post stuff, and then some brand will just be like, "Yo, DM us."
Oh, that's my favorite thing.
It's so funny.
Some of my friends from high school, like my female friends, grew up not to be creepy, but grew up to be super gorgeous. And like, so
it's a little bit creepy.
It's a little creepy. It's fine.
It's fine.
But like, so they have like their workout pics and stuff because a lot of them got into like athletic training and stuff. Yeah. Because I went to Seminole, which has a health academy.
Oh, that's cool.
So one of the like,
what the fuck is a high school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we had so like the high school I went to had a magnet program, which essentially meant you could come to that school even if you weren't zoned for it. If you were either in the IB program, which most schools have, which is for kids that like want to start taking college level courses ahead of time and get extra credits. And then we had a health academy, which would specifically they would send out letters to nursing schools and stuff if you wanted to go into the health field. And one of the specialties they had was yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, he went to that school, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so one of the specialty fields they had there, the subfields was sports medicine, so, like, a lot of people from that school went into that. So I'm going off on a huge tangent. They'll post like their like workout pics because a lot of them are athletic trainers and stuff. And every post, it's like, hey, sponsor our brand.
Yeah.
Send us a DM and we'll send you a free package. I'm like, that person's almost 30 now. Like they don't need this. They work 2 jobs.
Oh, man.
I went to the nerd school. I know what that school is.
Oh, what is the nerd school?
That's Croom's Academy. That's a tech school, which was hilarious. Lay off the apple juice. I can't.
That monster, dude.
Nah, dude. This is high energy, a high octane monster right here. I got some drywall to punch later. I gotta open my third eye.
Oh my god. I guess we'll get back.
We can expand on that later. Yeah.
I get so the main thing, and I say main thing, but there's never really a main thing with this podcast. It's literally just about anything.
Steven Galaxy's hosting.
Big hosty toasty from the Steve boy. Thank you, man.
Galaxy brain.
Galaxy brain. Galaxy boy.
Oh, dude, let me tell you, when we had to do that audio test earlier and you played it back and it decided to loop itself.
Oh, shit.
All of the serotonin that my brain produced today was going to produce or will produce in the future has now left my body. I heard my own voice on recording and I was like, hasn't changed in 10 years.
Yeah, people always say that.
Yo,
thank you for the Twitch Prime subscription. Appreciate that. Thanks, Triumph.
That's dope.
That is dope. Man, it's super weird. But people always say that when they hear their own voice for the first time, like on this shit. Like every time they sit there, like, I hate this, and I'm like, well, it's fine.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like it's. I'm old enough now to where it's like I can't change it. I could try, but no. I can't really change it. So it's not worth being stressed over. You got to learn to not be upset about things out of your control.
Yeah. Have you? I'm thinking of a way to phrase this.
Just phrase it as soon as the first way it comes out, Joe. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, when's the last time you've not let go of something that you've had no control over?
Probably today. Probably. I mean, like, Joe, I say shit all the time that people it's probably like sound advice. Am I gonna follow it myself? Fuck
of course not. Why would you do that?
No, I'm not a healthy individual.
Oh my god. All the hosts. I feel like I'm gonna...
I'm trying to get famous. Click on this.
Yeah. Y'all want to be famous,
I'm tired of working. I want the Jeff Bezos yacht.
And the subscription. Damn. Y'all fucking killing it tonight. Holy shit.
Deep dab.
Fucking just off the table.
Oh!
Can't see anything.
I can't get back up. The stream's over.
Damn. Yo, Corey, can you get that little guy in there?
Whoa, are we allowed to say his name?
The dude who chatted or the subscription?
Corey.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows who Corey is. He's fine.
Corey's about to turn the stream off now that I'm on it. He's like,
oh yeah.
He's like, I've already muted it, you fuckwad.
How do I pronounce your name? Aussie Kicks? Ozzy?
Oh, is Corey the moderator?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's dope.
Yeah. Doxed. We got him, boys.
Got him.
We'll let him go. Stevie, you get doxed every time you go live. Ozzy is fine. Okay, cool. Dope. Literally doxes himself. But yeah, I guess so. The reason I asked that is because I've had to do that a lot recently.
I think the older you get, maybe up to a certain point, dude. So I feel like life is a big circle, right? Like you deal with certain things as a kid that are like exclusively to like child age years, right? And then you have like your own sets of problems as like a young adult and then a full on adult. And then when you become old and senile, you get to have those kid problems again. and you get to relearn it all over again and then you die.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like up to a certain point, like maybe it's not even a certain age. Maybe it's just like once your responsibilities change, you have to keep like relearning stuff like that. Like because we're all like, it's different for everyone, but we're all raised with like learned behaviors. So I say here all the time, like, oh, you just gotta let stuff go if it's out of your control. Almost every job I've ever had and, like, everything I've done semi-seriously in my life, I have not taken that advice. And I think it's just like learned behavior is so hard to like unlearn after you've done it for so many years. Because like I was raised where it's like you need to take responsibility for the vast majority of things that occur in your life. Maybe not everything, because there's always going to be stuff that's actually out of your control. But if you get into that mindset, sometimes it becomes really hard to tell the line of like, can I control this or can't I? And I think a big part of getting older is learning like you have very little control over very few things. Yeah.
I guess recently was the dog thing where I was like, oh, okay, I got this. The thing in hindsight, now that I think about it, it's like, of course, like that wasn't going to work. Like I work not 40 hours, but like what, 36, 37-ish, close enough.
We're both pretty close to 40.
Close to 40 hours.
We're supposed to be at 40 and we're like a little shy.
Yeah. And then I spend, hold on, let me do some math real quick. I'm in
That's not even accounting for like your drive time or anything.
The drive time
you're clocked in.
So like I spend 21 minimum 21 hours, sometimes 26 hours a week in the gym. And then
that's a lot.
And then I do this. Yeah. So it's like, of course I wouldn't have time to do it, but in my head I was like, this will be fine. I mean, this will be easy.
That's also, I think, something a lot of people are taught growing up is like, you're never going to know if something's going to work out until you try it.
That's not true.
It's not true. There's certain things you know they're not going to work out, but there is something to be said to being like, I'm just gonna make an attempt here, and I'm gonna try and will it into existence.
I feel like willing it is dangerous.
But I do definitely think dangerous. But there's also a point of you'll maybe find a way to start doing something once you start doing it. We're gonna get into all this later, but I struggled with depression a lot when I was a kid, and I don't think I really knew that it was depression at that age. I think I just attributed it to like the stuff they tell you in school, like your hormones are imbalanced, and like you're a constant product of your surroundings when you're in school because everything's just reactive. And we're trying to get famous, bro. The response time's getting real fast.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But so like I struggled with that for a long time when I was growing up, and somebody told me one time, they're like, "Hey, I know what that feels like, and until you're old enough to like maybe do something about it, like go to yeah, famous."
That emote is so good. I love it.
Until you're old enough to like take care of that situation on your own, something you're gonna have to try and do is just pretend to be happy until you're actually happy some.
Ooh, okay.
Which is, as an adult, I think that's borderline unhealthy, but I do think as a kid, when you don't have access to medication on your own, and you're maybe, like, afraid to talk to your parents or whoever about that, I do think that's, like, a measure that a lot of people have to take, is kind of just, like, I'm just going to do this thing until it actually becomes true. Even if it's by accident, and then even if it's, like, oh, I'm not really happy, like, at least you kind of, like, got through that.
Yeah.
So I think that's, like, a learned thing that a lot of people do, is, like, if I start doing this thing, then eventually I'll just find a way to make it work. I think people do that with relationships all the time.
So, it's weird to say this, and this might be, maybe I may not articulate it well. I think once you're in...
Have you met me?
Oh, that's true. I think once you get invested in a relationship, there are some things that are worth wading through.
Absolutely.
Like there's, because not everything's going to be like smooth, easy street. Like,
if I've learned with relationships, if it is smooth, easy street, that means like something's off. Like,
something's brewing underneath.
Yeah, something's not being communicated properly, or someone's being not completely honest.
Or at least not.
I'm not saying you should have slugfests by any means, but I do think like small arguments are pretty healthy. Like you should disagree on some things.
I also wonder like what other people's definition of an argument is, because for me, arguing,
disagreements might
disagreements
be a better
or
word,
like debating.
I think you can argue in a healthy way if you are both like feel strongly about something, And I think even if you express that strongly, like, I might be a little off here because of, like, my parents are a little bit older than most of, like, my friends' parents that are the same age. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. My parents might watch this. There's a possibility my dad wades through this bullshit. But, like, I'm not saying this in any negative way, but I think we were raised, like, a certain way where it was, like, it's okay to be upset about something and express that you're upset. What's not okay is to obviously either get physically violent, obviously, or do something just for the purpose of emotionally hurting someone.
Yeah.
But if you feel strongly about something and it comes across strong, and the other person feels strongly about an opposite issue or an opposing issue, and that also comes across strong, as long as you both end up in a place of not even the same place, like that's not necessarily.
Yeah, I don't need you to change your opinion,
but of understanding or of like healthy communication, that is fine. What I think is not fine is when two people just go at it and then they both become more entrenched of the views they already have.
Yeah,
and then it becomes toxic or venomous anytime that subject is even relatively approached.
Yeah, I feel like that's become a lot less like of a thing as of late.
I would like to think so, yeah.
It seems that way. It could just be the circle of people that I'm around are just not like that, and maybe it is more prominent, or it's
I mean, I would definitely like to think so. I've also seen things like that come and go over time, though. Like,
that's true.
I don't want to blame everything on, like, politics or economics or anything, but a lot of that stuff has to do with, like, the overall, like, spectrum of society at the time, because like, I think there's better things for us to talk about than politics, so I'm just gonna get in and out of this.
Dude, I literally talked with politics with Michael for like 5 hours.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. Yeah. Like, I have no problem with that, but I know there was, like, other stuff that I feel like we're gonna talk about that hasn't been talked about as much. But, like, one of the things that happened like recently politically that, like, is genuinely saddened me as a person is like, I always grew up with having friends of, like, all different races, and not only that, all different religious backgrounds. So, like, I was never stupid about, like, the fact that racism existed.
Yeah.
But I definitely was shocked, like, within the past few years about how outspoken people were willing to be about their racism if they feel like they would not be punished for it. Or like, for the most part.
I feel like people don't realize that that's also a thing in politics too.
100%.
Because like I'm no right winger. Like that's not that is not my politics. But I do find it interesting how casual left wing people speak about things.
Yeah,
as though everyone around them also is a left wing, like a left thinking person,
because they're in this like umbrella of comfort, where it's like everyone around me all the time has the same views, so I can say whatever I want because no one's gonna think differently.
It's crazy.
The extra shirt is coming off.
Yeah,
it is hot roasted, under these lights. Oh yeah, big chicken cook here. About to be Pollo Tropical in here.
I always expect these lights to like be a lot hotter, but I guess maybe I'm used to them. I don't know. I also wear like exclusively...
You're wearing a sleeveless hoodie that seems to be breathable.
Oh,
I'm wearing a flannel with this like weeb shirt that I brought to show that I'm not above anyone else.
I wish I could.
It doesn't breathe at all.
But no, I listen to that sometimes, and like just in other people's conversations, I'm just like, man, you are literally assuming that everyone around you agrees with you, and that bothers me.
That's so dangerous.
I was just like, why are you just assuming that no one else has any differing opinion than what you have? That's or it's like I don't think they do this maliciously. I think they just don't, like, the thought that what they're saying could hurt someone else or go against somebody else's opinion doesn't even register.
Yeah.
Like, it never even registers to them. But I don't know, that's just me.
Everything with that, I think, is like, it's all about balance, because I definitely probably err on the side of this, but I know people that like their entire being is like worrying about upsetting someone to the point where they are afraid to express their own views, even if those views are like by no time or like by no means radical today. I'm like, dude, you can say something like, we can have a different opinion if that's what you're worried about. I'm not immediately going to come out of my face as long as your view is just not like fuck X people group for no reason. Like, I have zero tolerance for that, but as long as you like have legitimate feelings that you can back up with like some level of like, I feel this way because I've witnessed XYZ, or like I've studied up on, like, absolutely, man. Even if I don't agree with it, absolutely. Like, good on you for having an opinion.
Yeah.
I don't feel like people should be afraid to, but I definitely feel like people shouldn't be emboldened to express certain opinions if they're just of the mindset like, no, everyone thinks this way. If they don't, fuck you.
I wonder how many, because I've had somebody on my podcast who didn't express his political view until after the podcast was over, because he didn't want, because we got into politics and he kind of tippy-toed around to things, and I at the time I was like, that's a little weird. I don't know why he wouldn't do that. And then it wasn't until afterwards I was like, oh, okay, I see. He
had a bad experience with like trying to express it before, and somebody was like, "Oh, you're a piece of shit for thinking like
and I was just like, that moment was like a moment of like, oh, I have a lot of empathy for that.
That's really tough, because I really don't feel like people should ever be made to feel that way unless your opinion is solely, like I said, just like, I don't think X group should have rights or whatever. Then it's like,
do you have a tiny mustache?
Yeah, exactly.
You do? Okay, you don't get
a voice anymore. Like, you're actually an enemy of the state. That's my favorite thing about that, is they're like, oh, well, the thing is, you got to give those people voices too. I'm like, no, because when you identify with that group, you actually are against every civilized country. That's their whole MO.
So the weird thing with that is, like, I don't want to give them, I don't want to give a group a voice.
Yeah,
but I can give an individual.
The individuals should still be allowed to say.
But there's a big caveat there. Mm-hmm. I'm giving the individual a choice or a voice because I'm interested to see if it's different than the group.
Right, exactly.
The moment that it's the same thing as the group,
get the fuck out of here, bud.
Like,
yeah,
you're out, bud.
Exactly.
You don't
like the thing about that, when people are like, you can't trample on free speech, I'm like, it's already slightly impeded whether you know it or not. Like, there are certain things you're not allowed to do or say. Yeah. You are not allowed to go into a movie theater full of people and scream fire.
Right.
That's you will get arrested for that. You're also not allowed to just go into like a public forum and scream obscenities. So like, there's already certain limitations. It's just that people are just like, I don't want that part limited. And it's like, all right, but if your whole speech is just your entire basis of free speech is, I don't want these other people to have free speech, it's a circular argument now, but someone's gotta lose.
Yeah. Triumph in chat says, people just think they're right and everyone else is wrong. Sense of perspective has been lost as of late.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very like polarized in one way or the other.
I think it's so tough right now too, because we live in an age where like everybody has a voice virtually.
Yeah.
Because of social media.
Especially now, everybody's stuck at home.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're in this like golden age of social media, so to speak, because a lot of people can't leave their house or go into actual public forums with face-to-face people, and so everybody has an opinion about everything now. But the problem is that goes hand in hand with that is, there is no excuse, in my opinion, for being ignorant and expressing your opinions about that ignorance, because all the information is in the same place that you're typing this shit up on.
So I don't necessarily even have a problem with people being ignorant. What I do have a problem with people is being ignorant and then being shown factual information,
and then continuing to
stay there.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, all right, man, what else do you want?
Well, to me, that's like, what ignorance is being offered the information and then still refusing to see it. Like, there's a difference between ignorance and lack of knowledge or information. Like, humans, I think, to become...
Thanks, Corey. Appreciate it.
To become, like, a more rounded individual and to formulate stronger opinions, you need to constantly be of the mindset of, like, I do not know everything. There is so much in the world. I know far less than I don't know. Like, the amount of things I don't know is so vast compared to the few things I do know, even for a highly intelligent and informed person.
Oh, yeah.
So I think people should keep that mindset throughout their whole life, because there's always something to learn, especially like there's always new information coming about. So as long as you're like, I know I don't know everything, I think that's fine. To me, being ignorant is being like, no, I know what I know, and I know what I know is correct, so fuck you, I'm not interested in facts. That's ignorant.
That is ignorant. Like, I don't know. I guess the biggest, we've talked about politics and whatnot, and I, not to get away from that.
Yeah.
But that's great.
Highly not.
Yeah.
Highly not.
Cosmic Chaos, highly intelligent and informed person. Sam Plus.
Negative Ghost Rider.
Politics is a big deal, especially right now, especially this year. Like, there's a lot.
We got an election coming up.
We do have an election coming up
at a massive climax at this point.
I just have this under feeling that, like, there's still a very weird divide between, like,
MAGA. Corey just put that in the chat.
I didn't even see it.
My views are my own, and I do.
Look, I feel like there's a weird divide between, like, the sexes that I wish I could figure out a way to, like, navigate, but I haven't quite found that, and so I just find myself talking about it
since time immemorial. Joe, men have tried to navigate the divide between the sexes with little to no success. You could say they've had negative success.
Yes.
Things just seem to get less and less sensical as time goes on.
That sounded like a voiceover for like some DLC for Fallout.
Well, you know, I used to DVR shows, and then I would only watch those Geico cavemen commercials.
Oh my god, they were so bad.
I was just DVRing for those. I was not interested in watching the show.
Man. Triumph in chat says there are also people who become hostile when you ask for information. Even when you try to explain that you genuinely want to learn or understand, they take it almost like you're mocking them.
Yeah, 100%. Like, people, I feel like after you hit, like, probably early 20s, I think is when it is probably for most people. They know what they know, and that's all they really want to know. They feel like they're like, I know enough to, I have like a half burp coming out. That's why I'm doing
fine.
This. I'm like John Mulaney. Like, I'm just talking through burps now.
You can work your way through it.
Yeah, I'm gonna work my way through it. But you hit like, or a lot of people hit this point where it's just like, I know enough to get by and do whatever it is that I do. So I'm no longer interested in new opinions or information. And it's like, all right, that's fine if you want to do that, but you don't get to talk anymore. Like, if you're gonna say, like, I know what I know, and I'm not gonna deal with your opinion, like, all right, but you don't get to have input now because you have not learned anything since 2012. So fuck it.
So we're done now.
Yeah, we're done now.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
You're trying to figure out who this is?
Oh, I know who this is.
Oh, you were about to time out that person.
No, I'm trying to find out how to. Oh no!
Oh, is Corey losing his mod privileges?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Corey lost mods.
You've lost the power.
Mine now, Joe.
Oh, it's Nate.
Oh, Pamo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't care. Yeah, I mean, like,
people have been trying to get you on the podcast for like a little bit now. So
who, me?
No, Nate.
Oh, Nate. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm sure he'll be on at some point. People can.
I mean, I definitely
do the exact same thing.
Everyone knows who I am because whenever I'm in the chat,
your name. It's your name.
Leia goes, "Are we allowed to say that it was him?" And you're like, "It's his first and last name."
Yeah. Oh my god.
I forbid it. Corey, no one fucking cares, dude.
Oh, man. So I guess, do you think? Oh no, is it bad that Steven's gonna get a laugh at us? I said, "Do you?" And I immediately went there, Steven. I immediately wanted to finish that sentence, and I'm upset at myself for that, and I'm upset. the Jesse Lee Peterson.
Oh God.
Do you
love black people? I'll delete this. Please do, Corey.
I need to download it first. Wait. No. Do you think that? I guess this is a question I ask a lot of people. Do you think that my outlook is valid? Do you think that there is still a problem, or that the problem is getting better, or that?
There's definitely still a problem for sure. As far as whether or not it's getting better, you're talking about like the gender divide.
Yeah.
I don't know. Amazing. I don't know. I think time will tell, to be honest. Yeah. It's very hard to judge things like that, especially things that have been occurring for so long. Like, in the moment. God, this is hard to concentrate.
It's hard because...
I know.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
Do you
love black people?
Fuck. Consequences the actions of go least destruction.
He slurs. He was
having sex with other men, and she was having sex with other women, and then you was having sex with each other.
He sounds drunk. He looks drunk. I don't understand.
I don't think he is, Joe.
He has to be drunk, man. He has to be out of his.
The world's a strange place, full of strange people.
He's not helping the problem either. Not gonna lie.
He's not.
God damn.
Steven, finish it. He's like, no, dude, a sub is a sub. I can't lose a sub.
Nah, I can't do that. Oh man. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we'll know like whether or not we're currently making any progress on. He finished it. Black people. I don't think we'll know if we're making any progress right now until like a few years from now, which sadly I think it'll be like when we start making negative progress, when we start digressing, that we're going to be like, oh, it was so much better 2 years ago. Because that tends to be how cultural things are. You're like, oh man, I feel like we should be so much further along, which is a valid viewpoint to have and probably is like the best viewpoint for more progression. But then you get like farther down the line and you're like, oh shit, it's getting worse. I didn't think it could get worse. It's worse.
Yeah,
What a miss.
What a miss. I just don't think...
I could be wrong, man. We could be at like the peak, nearing the pinnacle of like understanding. Like we could all about to be that meme where it's just like the fucking galaxy brain, like the actual just solar system.
It's fine.
The thing's about to die.
It's okay.
Yeah, we may have huge human peak performance here, dude.
I guess I interact with.
I sure hope not, though.
I sure hope.
I sure hope not. I've seen some things in the past 12 hours.
Yeah. Since I woke up.
I woke up, shit has been going ham, dude.
I've recently, I guess, more than the past couple years, I've interacted with a lot more women, and I've noticed
y'all fucking.
No, that honestly, that's funny, and that might be something else too, to bring up. That
we'll get to it.
The fact that like just doing that
changes your perspective.
Well, it changes my perspective, but it also like just doing anything with like the opposite sex is, especially when you're like a straight guy, is like everyone jumps immediately to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no nuance whatsoever in between. It's just like, oh, y'all fucking now.
I don't even think that's limited to straight guys, to be honest. Because
that's true.
I had this employee at Moe's. I don't know if I can say that. That might be a breach of my contract that has been void for 3 years. But yeah, I had this employee at a former job where I was a manager, and
you said it already.
It was a burrito franchise.
I feel like they're a queso franchise.
They are a queso franchise.
It's the only reason anyone goes to this place.
Yeah, like Triumph said, it's pretty much everybody, because I had what I was getting was I had a gay employee. He was the best dude, like the hardest worker. Anytime another gay guy came in, anytime. And part of it was as a joke, but part of it was also just like, I think this is how men in general are. Everyone's like, you trying to fuck that guy, Victor? And like the answer 99% of the time was no. He was just trying to upsell that guy a fucking extra large drink with his burrito. Yeah. But it's like anything you do, I think is brother alert. I think anything you do as a guy, or maybe honestly it's just people in general, like I don't know shit about women, so it could be the same thing. Like,
I think it's probably worse for women than it is for guys.
It probably is. I think anytime you interact with someone that people perceive as you possibly being attracted to,
any positive
interaction
with someone
where they're with someone that they're like, oh, I feel like they might be attracted to each other, they're immediately like, yo, you fucking. You're like, no, dude, I gave them a ride home because their car broke down,
or just their
husband
cool person
beat them up.
Like
it can be the most innocent
nothing has
thing.
to be wrong.
Yeah, the most platonic thing possible, and they're like, yo, how it is though.
Oh man, the thing that's weird about that is that's happened to me more often, like recently.
Yeah.
So because it has happened to me more often recently, I've begun to like apply that to other things.
Yeah.
Where like I could tell that happened with the girl that I was hanging out with or whatever.
Yep.
And I'm like,
they're used to this.
That's what that is. And then like I'm like, oh man, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like it's really annoying, but it's weird, I guess.
It's annoying, but you almost like become immune to it after a while.
I don't like
You're
that.
Yeah,
though.
I fucking get it.
I don't want to be immune to that. I would like for people to just be like, there are relationships outside of that.
Oh, there absolutely are. So I grew up kind of the way you are now, and I think my life is kind of like flip-flopped. I think ratio-wise, probably most of my friends are guys now. But all of my friends from like elementary school to high school, all of them were girls. I would maybe have 2 guy friends. And I'm not bragging, but I had a lot of friends back before I became the way I am now. So I probably, like, on average, I probably had, like, a group of, like, 25 close friends throughout high school. 23 of them were probably girls. And every girl, and, like, I would be in a relationship with someone, and it would be well known. Every girl that I would hang out with, everyone would be like, fucking,
you cheating dog?
Yeah, you cheating dog? And to the point where they would actually go up to like whatever girl I was dating, and they'd be like, "Yo, there's something going on there." Like, she's like, "Yeah, I'm best friends with that girl. I told him to hang out because I wanted a day off from him because he keeps looking at Spider-Man comics."
Yeah. Oh man. Triumph in chat says, sex as a topic has become exponentially more accepted as a topic in the last 40 years, and we're culturally starting to see how that affects interactions and relationships. But is it a
positive?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't know if it's
effect. Is it a positive effect in relationships? I think that depends on everyone involved. To be honest, like I've been in relationships where the person has been like, yo, you can be friends with whoever you want to be as long as they're not toxic people. As long as, like it's healthy for you, then that's awesome. And then I've had other relationships where it's like, I really am insecure about you having any female friends, which is like, I don't want to make, like I said, we'll get to the rationalization parts now. Actually, go for it.
Yeah.
I think that's dangerous. Like, I do understand that a lot of guys, girls, everybody has issues with like honesty, probably. Because it's so easy to not tell the truth a lot of times.
That sounds like
fucking sucks. But think about it, man. Yeah. Like, if you lie and you get away with it, 0 consequence. The best thing to do is tell the truth, because that is how you successfully and healthily progress a relationship. But if you are with the wrong person, which you don't know if you are sometimes until way later on down the road, you could be having a bad time if you tell the truth about something, man. And I'm not perfect by any means. I've told the truth and been chewed out. I've lied and gotten away with it. I've lied and then been found out and gotten in insurmountable trouble. But I mean, so it depends on everyone involved, because like I was in a relationship where the girl did not like me having any female friends because she had.
That's weird to me, man.
She had so many, and I'm not faulting her for this because I'm self-conscious too in a lot of ways. Not as much now because I've just given up on most things. But like
tapped out.
Yeah, but I think especially like in prime relationship points where you like want to look your best and feel your best for that person, you want to put your best forward, you get insecure about certain things. And so she was like, she would judge the girls that I was friends with and be like, I don't want you being friends with that girl because they're really pretty and they're obviously flirting with you. So you're going to leave me for her. And I'm like, one, I don't think they're prettier than you. Two, we've been friends for 10 years. Yeah. So if that was going to happen, it would have happened already.
A long time ago.
So obviously I feel for some reason and they or both of us feel that like that's not an option. Three, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like don't put yourself like in that position where you're making me say something stupid.
Yeah.
Because I can do it without your help. I can say plenty of stupid things without anyone helping me.
I don't fault people for that, but it is a thing that kind of makes me go, oh, okay, we're not compatible. Like I understand where someone's coming from if they're like, oh, you're hanging out with this person and I think she's prettier than me or I think she's more attractive than me or for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, and that makes me uncomfortable. I get that. I understand where you're coming from with that. Right. I won't fault you for it, but also we can't. Like,
yeah, it won't work,
but it's probably not going to work out because
there's someone it will work with that person, hopefully, but like it's probably not you, man.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for that because to be fair, I've been in that mindset. Like, I've been there before.
I have too, dude. I was like, especially in like high school relationships. I would anytime like my girlfriend would talk to another guy, even if it was a guy I was friends with, I'd be like, yo, why are you guys going to the movies together?
Why'd you look at her?
Yeah. And the answer would literally be, because you told me you didn't want to see that movie when I asked you to go. And then I'd be like, and then you don't see that movie. But it's also like, I don't know, man. I don't want to say age should dictate everything, but like, you get to a certain point in life where you're like, okay, we should have grown enough at this point to where like we are not doing these things
also
anymore.
I think at the point that you decide that, oh, this person I'm dating,
if you're moving in together, I think if you're old enough to make that decision,
but I feel like even before then, like if I'm at the point with someone with like they are my girlfriend, like we are like not going on dates but dating, the whole point that we've decided to do that is the fact that I trust you to some extent.
Right, exactly.
So, like, if that's the case, then why
you can show up at my house and it's not like, why the fuck are you here?
Yeah, like it's not like it's not. I feel like once you've gotten to that point in a relationship that the problem of, oh, this person makes me uncomfortable or I feel insecure or whatever. I'm like, you can have insecurities. That's fine. Everyone's gonna have those. Right. But that one specifically, I'm just like.
There's exceptions to that, obviously. I think like if
there's no absolute,
but like I think the exception is like if that person has shown like a track record of like toxic or abusive behavior, or like there's a little bit of validity, I think, to being like, I don't necessarily want you talking to your ex that you constantly get back together with. Like that might be a little like, I'm not saying even that is like an absolute no-go, but that's definitely a conversation that needs to be had.
Steven Galaxy, I would say pretty confidently that having to delete your significant other's opposite sex friendships so they don't cheat is an unhealthy relationship.
Look, man, I only know how to get into unhealthy relationships, okay? Like I said, the serotonin has left the room, but I need someone that's gonna make me feel bad.
Yeah, it's, people are very scared about actually trusting people, giving the option to the other person on whether or not they are faithful is the ultimate show of vulnerability.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think
you definitely have to take a leap of faith at some point. Yeah, I also don't think you should necessarily go out of your way to like push the envelope of like how insecure can I make my SO before they go insane. Like, don't do that just for the sake of it. But I do think it's super toxic if you're
just never
get rid of that person for no reason.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's something that I guess guys struggle with in a different way. Mm-hmm. Or I'm saying this in like general terms. Obviously, every dude's different. Everybody's different. But like,
dude, I'm a straight white male. I was as vanilla as it get. If there was a mold for guys, I came out of it. Just slightly way skinnier. They're like, oh shit, I didn't pour enough in that mold. They're like, send it out. It's fine.
I think
she gone.
I think I just think actively actively choosing to be vulnerable is a thing that guys just don't do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's weird is this 2020 is like such a weird year because on one hand, it's been pretty garbage.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I've grown so much as a person that it's weird to think of 2020 as a bad year.
This is a super smooth segue into what we were like planning on
about. It's
just yes, absolutely. I do think there is a silver lining to 2020 for some people.
Yeah.
I think all of this isolation and lack of ability to maintain the norm has definitely pushed people to explore themselves and like their beliefs a lot. And for people to really, gamers are the most oppressed group. That is pretty accurate. I mean, Left Alive exists.
Oh man, I'm glad I forgot already.
Oh, I'm bringing it home with me.
Oh boy.
But Steven's comments are incredible.
They're great.
Dude.
They're so good.
Steven, I followed you, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. I'm just gonna float that out.
Dude, I have a good little chat. I love my
dismantle the Patreon. But so I think 2020, depending on what you got out of it, for some people has either been the healthiest or the least healthy year of their lives. So, and for me, it's been both. So like I did pretty okay financially with the shutdown. I'm not saying that to brag, but like
sounds like you're right.
I'm bragging.
Okay.
I was irresponsible and didn't file my taxes on time.
All right, well, there we go.
So I had money that I forgot about is what happened. And so I was laid off temporarily, and then I was like, shit, I need money. And then my W-2 was there, and I'm like, this thing hasn't been touched.
It's like, we got money.
So I got money, and then the stimulus showed up, and I got more money. And then we had that extra money from unemployment, and they fucked it all up and sent me a $1,600 check at one point. And I was just like, yo, this is what it feels like to not eat ramen for 2 weeks. This is insane. So like on one hand, that was great, but I did definitely hit that point like mid shutdown where I was like, I am not the most mentally healthy person. I'm definitely not as bad as some people. And I don't mean bad in the sense of like, you should be ashamed. I mean bad because like, mental illness is exactly that. Like it is a sickness. Like it's a disease and it affects the way you live. But I definitely have some struggles in that department. So like being unoccupied for so long, like not being able to go to my job or like socialize other than like electronically, you know, through like video chat or Twitch chats or you know, like PSN because everyone was sitting at home playing Overwatch and fucking Fortnite and just devolving.
I don't think I could play Fortnite, dude. I don't think I could do it.
You can try.
No.
Shots help. But so like I definitely hit like a really low point. I'm not gonna say it was my lowest point in the last couple of years because like
nah.
I'll be upfront. Joe has probably seen me at some of my lowest points.
I've seen you at some low points on my couch.
Yeah, exactly, so, like, Joe. We'll get into this. Like this is actually like pretty therapeutic. Like just telling everyone what's happened over the years. But like I've been at some very low points. That was, I think, more so than anything, it was just a different point. Like, I had never gone that long without having, like, open communication with somebody. And I get a lot of my value as a person from, like, doing my job well. Both, like, my job that I am paid for, like, my actual occupation. And then I have, for the longest time, like, we did that personality test when I was in high school. And I'm the type of person that, like, gets, like, gains confidence through acknowledgement. So like like affirmations. So like I feel good when I help somebody else. Or like when I feel useful to someone. Like if you give me a task and someone says thank you or like that helped me so much, that to me is as good, if not better, than getting a paycheck. For the most part, until I hit that point where I feel like I'm being abused.
They're gonna see this thing, dude. You can't say they're gonna watch this and then they're gonna see.
Be like, I'm gonna get so much fucking free labor out of them.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So like, I get a lot of like satisfaction and like emotional nourishment from that. So being completely unable to interact with anyone other than the people that lived in my house was so difficult for a while. But then I hit that point where noted.
Oh, no.
Is that
Oh no! That's great.
Oh no. Jesus.
What's up, Captain Cosmo?
I have absolutely no worry about like using that. But I definitely hit that point where I was like, I have been the way that I am currently for long enough to where I was like, I need to start practice what I'm preaching to a degree, and like, I don't want to be this way anymore. I don't think there was any one thing that happened, but I was like, I'm tired of just like, not wallowing, but just accepting what my life was and the way I felt about myself, to where I was like, I need to go back to that mindset that I used to have of what we were talking about before, where I'm like, I'm not happy, but I need to at least pretend to be happy for a little bit so that I can try and actively make a change. So like, definitely not you, but like, I started working out. I started like doing a little bit of yoga again. I would go outside just to go outside, and like,
that's something I don't do.
Yeah,
often.
and like, dude, it's awesome sometimes. Like, Florida kind of sucks as a whole, but like, I'm really lucky to live right by the Wekiva Trail, so like, it's awesome to go out there and actually just see like wild animals and stuff. Like, I know it sounds really corny, but just seeing like natural beauty is like really incredible when you hit like a low point in life. Because I think
like, just even when you're at like
you're at high points, it's so cool to just step back and be like, there's so much cool shit on the planet that humans have no hand in creating. Depending on your perspective. If you might be like, deers were engineered in a lab. Yeah, so like, I hit that point. So I think what you were saying earlier is definitely true. Like, 2020 has been an insane year because on one hand, like, everybody is stressed out all the time because nobody knows what's gonna happen, dude. Yeah. Like, from one day to another, we have no idea what's gonna fucking happen. But then at the same time, like, people have gotten this, like, for better or worse, this opportunity to really look inwards and be like, do I like this? And if the answer is no, like, do I have the ability to change it? Yeah. And the reality is, like, you always have the ability to be better tomorrow than you were today. Whether it's like super like incremental, or just like deciding to just like, tomorrow I'm just gonna do nothing that I've ever done before. Yeah. Like, I know people that have done that, and I know for a lot of people they're like, that's hypocritical if you have like this massive just change of heart. It's like, it's not always, man. Like, I think it doesn't always take like a massive tragedy or like change in lifestyle for someone to just be like, I just don't want to be this person anymore.
Or just change a aspect of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's totally fine to be like, I've felt this way for years and I just don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah. I have a friend that, like, I was talking to them about like making drastic changes or getting rid of like, or shedding off like an old personality. I'm like,
it is the healthiest thing you can do sometimes, man.
Maybe. I think you're right. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on the circumstance, but in this particular circumstance, this is just my opinion, and I could be wrong about it, but I remember thinking, I'm like, you don't need to get rid of it. You don't need
to do that, yeah. You just tweak it a little bit.
Maybe tweak it, exactly. A little bit, but like deleting your personality seems like such a huge move to me.
It's definitely that's definitely a coping mechanism, I think, and it's not a great one. Unless
now, if you can go back in time and say, okay, I looked at this personality and it's caused this, and these problems are 100% stem from me. Yes. In each of these situations. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we need to delete this.
Dude, by all means, try and be better.
But if you go back in these situations and it's not you causing those things, it's like,
or not completely you, at least.
Obviously,
it's all
a balancing act. But it's not like 100% you. I'm like, maybe we don't delete it. Yeah. Maybe we tweak it a bit. Maybe we edit it a bit. But like, deleting it seems like it's a huge thing. Yeah. But you're right. And 20 has brought like a lot of introspection.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm bad with words.
Yeah, me too.
You would think that I wouldn't be because I have a channel where I talk a lot, but that's not.
Dude, I think the more you talk, the worse you get with it. That's been my experience.
This
anyway.
camera blinking is driving me nuts. I don't know why, but it still makes me sad.
It's got that Rona.
Yeah,
Corey, you're not going to sleep. Shut the hell up. You're gonna go pass out in a tub somewhere.
You don't sleep.
You don't sleep. You're a bat.
You're a bat. Take care, bud. But yeah, for me, it wasn't like a big thing.
Right. It doesn't have to be, honestly.
I guess, well, I say that and I can think of like...
It's also all about perspective. Like, something that might be huge to you is inconsequential to me, maybe, and vice versa.
I don't think... If I thought about it, there were, like, major beats, but never, like, everything's, like, a broken down moment.
Was it just, like, a de-evolution of certain relationships?
Yeah, it was just more of a realization that, like, I had... Before quarantine, like before quarantine happened, I had already isolated myself. Like I'd already like I didn't go and hang out with anybody often. Like I didn't really make it a point to even play games with other people like often.
Yeah.
And then I was like, ooh, wait a minute. Now that I was forced to do exactly that, I was like, oh no. Like
when the option's completely off the table, you're like, oh shit, I wanted to do it eventually.
Yeah, like I didn't want to not do this.
Well, and that's the other thing I think some people have a hard time with, is like different personality types. Like like I said, I get a lot of my like emotional stimulus. Speak makes words bad, actually true. I mean, I try and speak the truth when it's convenient for me. But it's like, I have this type of personality where like, whenever I interact with people, I want it to be as positive of an interaction as possible. Not necessarily just affirming their ideologies constantly for them, but like, because to me, positivity isn't just like, that person made me feel good about myself. Yeah. It's like, if I can help somebody grow, even if they're like slightly upset with me, but in the long term is good for them, that's still positive.
Yeah, same.
But that being said, I am also not the type of person where I necessarily want to love, or I want to like constantly interact with people 24/7. Like I need time to myself.
Yeah.
I need it for that introspection, and I also just need like to recharge my introvert battery, so to speak. Because I feel like a lot of times when I'm having at least somewhat genuine and serious conversations with people, I'm like expending a certain amount of emotional energy. And if I just do that over and over and over again, then eventually I run dry and I just break down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that could have been part of what happened to me too.
Yeah, I think that happens for a lot of people, and they just don't like to admit that because they're worried it sounds shitty.
I think even now, like, I'm getting invites to go do things a lot, and
gamble for your life.
Yeah. I'm just like, they're not like large gatherings or anything like that, and they're with their friends that like I trust. So like, I'll go and do them every now and then, but like, there is a part of me that after I'm done with them, in my head I go, well, there's still that podcast you haven't released yet that you haven't edited.
Yeah,
you should.
There's always something there.
Yeah, there's always like, and then I feel guilty about like not doing that because a lot of people will be like, hey bud, it's been 3 weeks. I haven't seen anything. Where's the video?
Where's the ravioli?
Where's the? That's coming out real soon, by the way.
Oh boy!
I got a big dump of like 2 videos.
SpaghettiOs.
Both of them launching. I had to edit some things in that one, so that's why it took so long. Oh yeah. I feel like Jesse Lee Peters. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
Maybe I get that as a sound bar for my.
Where did you get her from?
Oh man, you know what? That's the game plan. We're gonna do that for chat. For my regular chat stream, I'm gonna get those sound bites.
Absolutely.
Oh man, along with some of the Corey ones.
If your channel gets copyrighted, it's well worth it.
Oh, it's fine. I'll cut it down if he doesn't win. But at least for the time being, while my channel's small, it'll be funny. But yeah, even now I'm already at the point where I'm like, okay, we've already hit the limit. You know what happens if you keep going to these things. Right. You need to chill out and you need to come back and
But there's that social obligation because you're constantly like, the juxtaposition is you're constantly worried about like pleasing people. You're like, I don't want them to think I'm an asshole or that I don't like them or that I'm a flake.
So it's almost like the opposite for me. So
Really?
it's not that I don't want them to think. I guess it's still what you're saying is still true.
Yeah.
But it's because it's starting from another place. This is an issue that I've always had since I was like a kid, because of all the different positions that my family and parents have been in. And then, like, it's so good.
It's too powerful.
I love
That's actually just a My Hero quirk.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But so like I've talked about this before, but my dad is a minister. He's a preacher. When I was growing up, and they never really applied this pressure to me, but I think it just naturally does. When you're part of an organization and you're attached to someone in that powerful of a position, you are also in a powerful position.
Yeah.
And
whether you realize
you realize it or not, or want it or not, like that you just are. And that was something I struggled with as a kid, of like being in a position where I was just like, I never wanted this.
Yeah.
I never asked for this.
I feel like
and it just
every pastor's kid I've known has been like that. They're like, dude, you have like this impossibly high standard set. Like, you never get to just be like,
you don't get to relax.
Yeah, you never get to be a teenager or like, if you're caught doing anything, they're like, your dad's losing his job.
Yeah, there's that. There's also, and this kind of has applied to my life now. And when I say this, people may not see it this way, but my brain does. So I genuinely, for the most part, I think most people have a good picture of me in their head.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they especially the people that we work with.
Yeah.
And my best friend tells me a lot of times, like, well, yeah, because you've made that. You've done good things, and so
right, exactly.
people,
yeah,
like,
actions speak louder than words.
Right.
Yeah.
But in my head, regardless of whether it's justified or if I what's the word? Deserve that mindset that I think people have in my head. The fact is that it's there,
right,
to me, and because it's there, I can't, like, in every action that I do is weighed against it.
Yep, exactly.
So it's like, okay, well, if I say no too many times, like, how many times do I get to say no until like
they think I'm shit?
That thing changes.
Yeah.
Or like, only recently now, I guess, like I've kind of just been like, I'm just gonna do the things that I want to do.
You just
like,
have to.
It's like I'm just gonna, like.
The thing is, like, if you want to be useful to everyone, you have to give yourself time to like chill out, because if you burn out completely, then you can't help anybody.
Yeah, that's true. I also don't want to call it burnout. It's more of just like, there's a status that I think that or there's a perception I think people have of me. And I'm constantly using that as a measure for what I do.
Right.
So like, it's like, okay, well, this person has this idea of me in their head. I think it's almost a little bad too. Now that I think about it, it's almost a little bit manipulative, because I know that they have that perception of me. I kind of like, okay, well, if they have that perception of me, it's probably good for me not to change that.
Yeah.
Which, that sounds really fucked up, but I mean,
like, you gotta lean into the skid sometimes.
Yeah. It's just, it is what it is. But I don't know.
I mean, I've definitely done that exact thing for like so long. Like, that's how I've gotten ahead as much as I have.
Yeah,
in life.
it also,
like,
that's the other thing.
Yeah,
it gets you ahead so far.
Like,
and part of that is, yes, you are doing good things.
So
you do have a good moral compass.
Exactly.
Like, it's not you doing these things for the purpose of getting ahead. It's you doing these things.
But if that's a byproduct of it, there's nothing wrong with that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of, I almost like, I don't have any like specified beliefs when it comes to like karma or anything like that, but it's almost like, if the world works the way it's supposed to, you should be seeing some type of reward for constantly like trying to be your best version of yourself. Like, it would be shitty if you just lived like the most wholesome life you possibly could, and then you get to the end of it and it's like, nothing ever worked out for me. I definitely feel like I'm not a great person, but that's for sure where I'm headed. I'm gonna be on my deathbed and then I'm gonna be like, Peter Parker. I like,
it's hard for me to get behind karma sometimes, and not for So the reason I kind of push against, and the only reason I say that is because Triumph from chat was saying karma is real. I've seen so
there's
many
some
people,
fucked up shit that happens,
yeah,
and
to
nobody
really,
pays for it.
really
Yeah.
good people.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just like, where's the
justice here?
yeah, where's that? And
Yeah.
and then it just never happens, and I'm just like, oh, okay, like,
yeah.
all right, karma. Like,
Yeah.
I guess you're just checked out on this one
and
person.
vice
like,
versa. I know
yeah.
people that are just actively shitty.
Yeah,
and the reason they're still shitty is because they've gotten away with it for so long, and everything's worked out great for them.
Yeah. I don't know. It and I know some people go.
No. I get what
Yeah.
he said. I don't mean it's the end all be all.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Like, there's definitely times where through no outer forces, like action, like things just do sometimes work out the way that you would hope they would.
Yeah, that happened literally this past weekend.
Yeah,
which is great. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it for me. It was a strain on my psyche that it took a lot of the things that happened this year to realize, and then now that I recognize that, it's just kind of like, oh, I don't need that. Like,
so. And not to use like the old adage, but like when you're in your feelings or whatever, it's hard to like see the forest through the trees a lot of times, because like emotions are just the enemy of logic, dude, because I can put things together in my head in a way that completely makes sense all day. But as soon as my emotions come into play, that shit goes all out the window. No. I can, and like you can even try it with like exactly what you're talking about, like, say you feel like you have this social obligation, and then you're like, well, I really don't feel up to doing that. I know I should probably stay in and just focus on myself today, but I don't want that person to like have a bad opinion of me.
Sure.
You could sit there and go like, I have done this, and this for that person in the past X amount of time and not ask for anything in return. So I should know logically that I should be able to tell them I don't want to do that, and they won't hate me.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you send that text, you're like I fucking suck.
It's like, I gotta go.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going. Fuck it. Let's do it. And then exactly what you knew was going to happen, and you're completely burnt out.
It's for me. It's a time thing. Like the dog really if I didn't get that lesson before then, like I got it now.
Yeah.
Like
it's good that it happened then as opposed to later on down the line when he had become like super adjusted and everything.
Yeah. I came to that realization that like I am not an omnipresent person, and my time is very limited. And I have to make the most out of it for the things that I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
they have not perfected the cloning process yet.
Dude, I can't wait until they do it. But for now,
I say that, and then it's like your emotional energy will be divided amongst all of them. I'm like, put it back.
Yeah, I don't need it.
Put it back. I don't even have enough now.
It's like, I don't want this. Take the chip out.
Yeah.
I think that was a real thing. Like people were putting chips in themselves now.
Oh yeah, I believe that. I mean, I get lost sometimes, dude. I need to be able to find where I'm at.
Hit that app.
I'm by the Costco. How did that happen?
Time is a thing. Emotional investment is a thing that I'm very wary of now.
Well, it's something you're just constantly learning about. I think that as you go about life.
I've never gone to like an actual physician or I guess it's a physician, a therapist or a doctor or whatever.
It's a form of physician for sure. Yeah.
I cannot.
They do have to go to school for it.
They do have to spend a lot of time reading books.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have depression. I don't know. Maybe I do.
Maybe yeah.
Or some form of it. Because I have like roller coaster moments where I get really low.
Yeah.
And then I have moments where I'm coasting pretty high and I'm just like, all right, life's good.
Yep.
Things.
Yeah, it's probably some degree of it.
So maybe there is some degree of it. But
or you could just be a normal human. Who knows?
Maybe
if that even exists.
Maybe
anymore.
I don't know. I definitely don't think it's normal. I definitely don't think the way that
you think the valleys are too low and the peaks are too high.
No, maybe. I think the valleys are too low and
the peaks aren't high enough.
The peaks, when the peaks happen, I'm looking for the valley.
Yeah.
So like,
sure. You're like, this shit ain't gonna last.
I know. Where's it coming from? I know
that ain't depression. That's hanging out with me too much. You're like, I've seen it.
I see it.
It's going bad soon.
I see it over there in them trees. Oh man, that.
Hey Joe.
The funny thing is, like, it almost confirms itself though, because logically, obviously, yes, there are going to be valleys. Like they're going to happen.
Yeah, it's just the natural order of things.
So when you're at your peaks and you're going, where are the valleys? Where are the valleys? Eventually, the valley shows up and you're like, I knew it.
Yeah, it's like, of course you fucking knew it, dude. It's been 2 years.
Yeah,
that valley's been coming for a hot minute. And I'm not projecting anything.
No, and the worst part about that is the whole time you're looking for those valleys, you're not enjoying the peak.
Not enjoying the peak.
So like
exactly.
It's like,
and I think that more than anything is the conscious thing I decided to change during quarantine. I can't help like the chemical imbalances in my brain 100%. Like you could do things to alleviate that, but it's never gonna be 100%. Like I said, like mental illness is exactly that. It's an illness, and mental health is just as important as physical health, and they're very much connected. I think.
I think it's harder for people to. Like, okay, so with physical health, you're like, oh, you're overweight.
You go to a doctor.
No.
Or you get on a diet.
Yeah, you get on a diet, you start exercising. Like we can clearly see and we know what
the remedy.
The remedy.
Yes.
Like we know what we're supposed to do. But for mental health or mental problems, it's not as clear.
Well, and you know why that is because there's so many stigmas attached to it still. It's like, and I'm not saying it's only with guys, but I think I think it's harder for guys. It's very, very
because
hard for guys.
It's not,
especially with like the era that you and I grew up in. Not that I'm saying we're super old, because I know I keep saying that, but like we just grew up in like a certain time where
we got the gray beard.
The 90s, yeah, we both have the gray beard, dude. The 90s was like this weird like testosterone fever dream, like dude, like WWE. Was WWF, and it was at the height of its power. Like, Mankind was a spokesperson for Chef Boyardee.
That's right, dude.
And, like, you went to the gas station, and there was energy drinks everywhere. Everything was fueled by testosterone and absolutely nonsensical sex appeal.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, we grew up in and out of that era to where it was, like, there was this for a long time, this very clear definition of what a man was supposed to do, say, and act like. And talking about you being depressed or sad or like
not even.
Oh, dude, that was the farthest thing from what you should be talking about.
Yeah.
Like, dude, God bless my parents. Like, especially now, they encourage all of us, their kids and their grandkids, to be like open and honest about things.
Drop them. We can always talk about it.
But like growing up, you know, within that culture, and like in high school, even growing up in music where things are more accepted, it was just like, dude, if you're gonna talk about your depression, write about it in a song. Like, we don't want to hear about this. Like, people didn't want to hear about it. People didn't want to talk about it. People just didn't want to acknowledge it, because it was like this weird thing where it's like, yeah, all of these practices that we can suggest to you as like possible remedies are non-scientifically proven. So it's all seen as like conspiracy and crackpot theories. So like if you were a guy and you're like, yo, I think I have bipolar disorder, never tell anybody that. Never talk about that, especially to your significant other, especially to like your kids, whoever. Like, if you were supposed to be the breadwinner or like the protector in any type of relationship, you did not talk about any type of like inner turbulence.
Well, yeah, because you have to be
because then that facade has to drop. Which like that thing needed to be up at all times, or else you had no value.
Which
was a bullshit mentality that never should have existed, and other men are the ones that propagated it.
I wouldn't say it's 100%.
It wasn't 100%, but there's like, even now, there's still guys that are like, dude, you don't work out like 6 days a week? I'm like, no, dude, I work out when I feel like working out. Like, I know I'm not buff and like I'm not like conventionally sexy or attractive, but like my skin is the color of milk and it's gonna stay that way. Fuck off.
I don't understand that mentality of like the gym bro that's like, yo, dude,
this is peak performance. This is what every woman wants.
So I love talking about the gym, and I love talking about like
I love talking about workouts too, is like as little as I do of them. Like, I do what I do, and I love telling people like, yo, I'm making so much progress. Yeah. It's awesome. Like, it definitely helps your mental status. Same as based? I don't know what that means. Dude, I'm fucking old.
Yeah. I love talking about that stuff, but I would never be someone that's just like, oh, dude, you don't do this? You're a piece of shit. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. That's wild.
It's such a dumb mentality, but it's gone on for so long, and it exists in so many different like social aspects of society. Yeah. Like, oh, you don't listen to this music, you're fucking lame. You don't like doing this activity, which, like, by the way, there's always some new bullshit trend activity
of course.
That everyone does for
dude, there's trend
for 3 weeks, and then it's fucking it's like anti-pussy.
Yeah.
Like, I remember for a while, everyone's like, bro, you don't rock climb? I'm like, I went rock climbing on a date 3 years ago. They're like, oh, bro, you got to do it. I'm like, it's rock climbing. It hasn't changed. I can just go do it. What do you mean I have to do it?
I haven't done it in a while, and I kind of want to.
I haven't either, and it's like, it was a good time, but it's like, I'm not going to get a rock climbing gym membership because I'm not that passionate about it. Like,
the fact that you have to get, well, no, you don't have to, but like the cost analysis of getting a membership, it's just like, it's terrible. But I guess to what I was saying before, I won't put 100% of the blame on guys.
No, I don't either. I don't mean to phrase it like
that.
No,
but the reasoning behind that is like,
there is definitely bro culture though.
There's bro culture for sure.
Yeah.
But it's almost like stereotypes, and stereotypes have a reason. Like, they exist for a reason. They exist for a reason. There's a reason why those bro dudes say those things, is because there's also dumb girls that like back those things up by the decision.
Say that, Joe.
They're dumb.
Oh shit.
Like,
hot takes.
Hot takes.
Steven, drop the bass.
So if you're the type of person, this is gonna.
No, dude,
some spicy takes incoming.
What I've wanted to do, like, when we talked about having this podcast, it's like, I have no problem being the villain as long as I'm being honest. Like, I just don't want to get in here and be like, oh man, I don't want to talk about that. Like, I want people to actually have like a real discussion about this stuff.
Well, we're about to,
that's the only way we progress.
I'm probably going to say some stuff that people aren't going to agree with.
Drop the bass.
So I think that it's just, maybe not just as bad for the bro dude that's like, oh dude, you gotta lift, you gotta fucking take this whey protein. Like,
I don't have to. I'll probably still live.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, or just as bad as the woman that is dumb enough to stay with the dude who's also taking the whey protein, but punching her in the face because she didn't make the eggs right.
Yeah,
like. Yeah. Because what that does to the guy, and I'm not necessarily blaming her, because I get the mental thing of like,
no, I get what you're saying. You're almost propagating that, like, hey man, like,
get out.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, like, get out. Like, this you got to get out of there, because
exactly,
because it's really bad for you. It's the worst for you.
Yes,
but as a byproduct of that, it's also telling the guy who doesn't take the whey protein and that doesn't do that stuff that, like, oh, he's right.
Yeah.
He's
making out okay.
He's got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't have
one. He's
one.
doing what he wants.
And clearly that's what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
So I have to do this, regardless of whether or not that feels right for him.
Yeah.
Like, and I've seen that happen so much more, well, not more often, but I've seen that happen so often.
It's pretty prevalent.
That it angers me. Like, it infuriates me to see people not be themselves.
Yes.
To try to like get something,
because that's what they think is
that's
going
what's
to
supposed to happen.
That is the direct correlation.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that, man. I hate it.
That's actually something I have talked to people about a lot. Both, like, it's something I'm super guilty of, but like allowing someone to do something, and it's not just as simple as enabling, but like, at some point, you're not doing any kindness to yourself or anyone else by allowing someone to continue to be a bad person. Like, sometimes the best thing you can do as a person is say, like, dude, fuck you. Like, because that person has probably never heard it in their whole life. And I'm not saying you're going to rewire them automatically, but you are saying to whoever else is, like, involved with them or in that situation, like, there is at least some consequence to this.
Yeah, you can't
It's
just
exactly
do this
what
thing.
you said. Like, And I feel like it's so much more likely to happen to quote unquote nice people, because people get this mindset of like, in order for me to be nice, I have to just roll over all the time. And like, sometimes the nicest thing you can do is make a stand, if you're courageous enough, for everyone else that's like, I can't do it. And just be like, all right, then I'll do it. Yeah. I'll do this thing. Yeah. Like, we're not doing this anymore. This has gone on long enough and no one's having a good time.
He's crying. Like, we
can't do this. He doesn't like this. Stop.
No one ever.
That took me a long time to learn that too, because I went years and years and years. Like,
it's not an easy thing to do.
I think it's one of the hardest things as an adult, because it's such a fine line between being like, that whole pick your battles mentality of like, is this worth me talking about, and this person just getting upset and I kind of maybe say it the wrong way? Or is this like, this person has just gotten away with this for so long that of course they think it's okay, and I'm hurting everyone else by allowing it to continue. Undeterred.
You have to shut that stuff down. It's rare for me to say something good about Vox, but they did a good thing. There was a video series that they had. I wish I could remember the.
You say Fox?
Vox.
Oh, Vox. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of their content.
I was like, well, Joe, they've been absorbed by Disney. So.
Yeah, no. No, Vox. Whatever you feel about them, they had a series where one of their journalists went out and found like very masculine spaces or very like masculine people, and started trying to dig into like some of the issues that I'm gonna get to that comment. I saw it. It's good. But she started trying to dig into like, what does it mean to be a man, and that was like the backbone of the whole video series and the whole article or whatever. And I remember literally what you just said happened. There was this dude, fucking yoked dude jacked, like. Dude had tattoos.
Angel Santiago?
No, bigger than Angel Santiago. Huge dude. Like, and this was in like the UK. So dude had tattoos from he was bald. He had tattoos from like all of his head, his face, like literally everything.
Oh, that's my dad.
His face, everything. Dope. Interesting dude. Interesting looking dude, I should say.
Yeah.
But he was recalling a story about how the girl that he was seeing at the time was like, I'm paraphrasing what she told him, but she said, you're not the man that you think you are, but you'd be a great man if you were. Okay. And he was going through that story of like how and that was the last word she told him before they broke up.
Yeah.
And it clicked finally, and it was someone leaving him, something good in his life that left him.
Yeah.
That made that click happen, and he was like, I thank her every day for that.
Even if we don't, sure.
Because
now he can start working towards that.
Right. Now he can figure like, he's like, oh, that's the problem.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then you can build from there.
If you think you're already there, you're not going to work towards being there anymore. You're like, I've fucking arrived.
Yeah.
Like,
I am
ascended. I control all four elements.
Triumph said, Sam is spitting fucking facts, but another issue that happens more than not is when you are the person and it continues anyway. But that's the thing though. Like,
when you're the problem, or
if you're the problem, and it continues anyway. But the cool thing is if everyone were to adopt the mentality of like, okay, sometimes what I need to do to fix the person.
He said no.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm not understanding correctly.
So I think he's saying if you're the person that like tries to speak the truth to them, and they keep doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go ahead and get into the really personal stuff. I was that person in my last like serious relationship. This is all really tying into what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
The person that I was with for a long time and was engaged to and was very close to marrying had a very severe mental illness, and I knew that pretty early in the relationship. Yeah. She told me after like I saw some like strange inconsistencies when we were dating. And it became really, really difficult for me to criticize her, I guess you would say, but I don't mean that in like, hey, you should lose weight, like nothing like that, like, but just more of like behavioral correction, I guess you could call it. Like, I don't want to make it sound like I was training a dog
or a child or something.
Yeah. And because like I'm gonna probably say some things about the person that's not super flattering, but like that's where I'm at in my life. Like I've moved on. But I very, very much loved that person. Like wholeheartedly. And that became really difficult because whenever we would have a conversation where I was like, look, I need to talk to you, you know, I have friends that I've been friends with for years and years and years that have like mentioned to me that you made them feel bad when you made like this comment or when you acted this way when we were out with them.
Right.
And sometimes it would even be like, they didn't like the way that you talked to me about this thing when we were in public. And it would at times turn into me just trying to be like, look, I'm telling you this because I love you. And I want us to always like have a great time when we're together. And I would even tell her like, you know, the vast majority of the time when we're together, I do have a great time. But it was kind of exactly what you were talking about with your mental state, but like condensed into a relationship where like the valleys were super, super low. Yeah. Like incredibly unhealthily low. But the peaks were insane. Yeah. But the problem was when I was in those peaks, after a while, I knew that valley was coming.
I was like, where's it at?
And I was like,
I know it's coming.
I was like, I don't know if I have the willpower to like keep going. But the problem was I also didn't have the willpower to get out. So I would try and have these conversations where I'm like, hey, I know you love me and I love you, but because we love each other, like we have to work on this stuff. Yeah. And it would immediately turn into, I hate this, this, and this about you. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. Maybe don't phrase it like that. Yeah. Because that's literally how it would jump in that scale. And I would be like, okay, I'll try and work on those. And it would just evolve. It would just get worse and worse and worse. The fights would go on for hours sometimes. And yeah, at the end of it, it would end one of two ways. It would end with us making a list of things we were both going to work on and actively try and make some compromises to improve ourselves.
That sounds healthy.
Or it would end with me sleeping on the couch for 2 days and like being texted like, hey, go to the grocery store and buy your own dinner and blah, blah, blah. You know, things like that. The first part is healthy. The problem is those things would taper off after a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you do like one.
And then they're like, oh, I made him happy. You know, like I fixed the thing and we've had sex twice. Yeah. So like now he's forgotten about it. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying like I'm any kind of like special exception. I think most people that have been in enough relationships have probably experienced something like that. The problem was because I think we live in like this really... We're at a crossroads, I think, with mental health. She should have been comfortable to get help for her mental illness, but she wasn't because she had had experiences in the past where it was like she would go to a therapist and they would misdiagnose her or they would tell her like, well, you're overplaying up some of these symptoms. And it's like, to her, yeah. Also, like... She went to a therapist in Alabama, so that's questionable.
Well, you don't do that.
Yeah, you don't do that. But yeah, that's like a thing that happened. So like she had BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. She was misdiagnosed originally as bipolar disorder, which is a complete separate illness. So they put her on antipsychotics for bipolar and schizophrenia.
Wow.
Which made her essentially just like emotionally and like personality wise just completely flaccid. Like it was essentially like ODing as far as like her ability to like convey anything. Yeah. So I was like, you're not going to take those, but we need to like try and find a way for you to like healthily work out these problems. The problem is sometimes when you are an empathic person or a giving person in a relationship, you become the therapist. And it's like, I realized after a while, I'm like, I'm not in a position to help her in this way because I myself am not healthy. Yeah. And that was like the other big thing was she would gaslight me because it was like, I would be like, hey, I didn't like this the other day. Like, I didn't like when you talked to me like that. And it'd be like, well, I have BPD. I don't even remember us having that, because that would be like a symptom when she would black out certain like high emotion peaks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, that's valid. I understand that you don't fully remember it. Just like maybe the next time you feel yourself like getting angry with me, you take a step back and realize like, hey, I said this to him before. I don't remember it, but it did happen, and it's valid that he feels upset about it, so maybe I'll actively not try and do that. Instead, what would happen was she would be like, yeah, fuck you, you're lazy because of your depression. And I'd be like, oh, that's healthy.
Cool,
this relationship's gonna work out great.
So we're pointing out and using our illnesses as a...
Yeah, it was just ammunition.
Excuse. Yeah, I was like,
cannon fire.
This seems really healthy.
Which, like, it's a super double-edged sword, because she should never have been made to feel like she was ashamed to talk about her illness to, like, a licensed professional, or to anyone.
Anyone, yeah.
Like, in the first place. But also, like, there's a level of personal responsibility, especially if you are actively pursuing a relationship with someone else, where it's like, I have an illness, and, like, that should be okay, but it is also not the other person's fault that I have that illness.
Sure.
And it cannot always be their responsibility to maintain my mental state.
Yeah.
Especially if I am knowingly with another person that has a different mental illness and doesn't fully understand that.
Yeah.
And, like, I was by no means a perfect partner, but I would read books and shit on it to try and understand it. And it was still, like, just... by normal people's standards, a lot of times, just super erratic behavior. Because it's like, unless you have that illness, like a specific illness, you never fully grasp what it is.
Yeah.
It's just, like, it's like with anything. Like, I will never fully understand what it is like to be a black man in today's society, because I'm not one. I'll never understand what it's like to have BPD, because I don't have it.
Yeah.
I'll never understand what it's like to be a partner that is like, that's not true. All these things have happened to me. I gotta throw out the next 10 examples.
Okay.
But
I thought you were like, I have been a black man.
No, I was gonna say I'll never be able to understand what it was like to be.
Here's a picture of me as a black man.
Here's me as a black guy. I just have been inside for 15 years.
There it is.
I was gonna say I'll never understand what it's like to have been like abused or whatever, but like I unfortunately realize that on both spectrums.
Yeah.
But I'll never understand what it's like to be a female or someone that like struggles with gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
Unless that changes later on, but like I can empathize with those people in the sense of
that's
like,
the thing.
You are dealing with something, you are being oppressed, and you are being looked down on.
Yeah.
But I will never fully understand what that actually means to that person. I don't understand how much it fully defines their life.
Well, I think so. You may not be able to understand it, right? But the balance thing there is, they also
don't understand what it's just like to be me.
And so because you both have that, that should be the thing that's like, okay, we can figure out, we can at least meet there.
That's, I think, one of the really regardless of how you feel about all of the BLM stuff, and I know it's like it's a wide facet of things that are happening with that. It is not a black and white thing. Like, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of facets there. Like, I'm very left-leaning typically, but there are certain things with it that I'm like, this should be handled a little bit better, maybe. But I have gone to protest and things like that because I think overall that movement is incredibly important. But I think that is what needs to happen, is like, I may not understand what it's like to be you, but I can understand what it's like to be a person that has been treated unfairly, and that is enough.
Yeah. And from specifically with BLM, I'll say, as a brown dude, the flip side to that coin is, I say we, but I don't really consider myself in that group because of the way that I grew up.
I mean, you are still technically
I'm still in that group, but I think it's kind of dumb of me to be in that group because of my skin color, because I don't think that, well, yes, things have happened to me in my life that are negative because of that.
Black people.
Do you I don't think I've had the same experiences that I think are more commonly what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say the flip side to that coin is as a person of color or black person or whatever you want to call, you also don't know what it's like for millions of people to be saying that you are the enemy when you've done nothing wrong.
Right, absolutely.
Like in the way that they're going.
Racism is not a one-sided thing.
Not.
Like,
and that is what really irks me about like these kind of things, because it seems to go like hard one way, and I'm just like, hey, yeah. Like we gotta keep this balance.
Yeah, this person's trying to advocate for you.
Yeah, it's like relax.
Yeah,
like this is not. You're not at war.
Right.
Like it's. You're having a debate. You're having a conversation with the goal of trying to meet somewhere.
Progress things. Yeah.
So like when I see stuff like that, I'm just like, I almost feel like you were helping up until this point, and then now you're not helping.
Now you're deterring your cause.
Now you're not helping at all. You're literally doing the opposite of what you want.
I grew up in like a predominantly black neighborhood. And my best friend growing up, I still consider him like one of my best friends, even though we don't talk a whole lot, was my friend Kevin. And I don't like the term colorblind because I think that oversimplifies things. I was never unaware of the fact that Kevin was black. Like, it's not, we are not the same. But I never like, it was also just like, so he has more melatonin than me? Why is that? Any kind of like rift between either of us, like socially. And to me, all of the most interesting relationships I've had with people, friendship, romantic, work acquaintances, whatever, we have like a good amount of differences because like, dude, have you ever talked to someone that's exactly the same as you? It's fucking boring. Like, I hate it after a while. Like, you should have some common interest, I feel like, so that you can like have like a certain like level ground to stand on. I don't want to talk to a clone of myself, dude. But
that'd probably be extremely boring. The reason I even hesitated there for a second was just because my best friend, she and I are extremely similar, very similar. Yeah. But also,
I can tell you one difference right now. You said she.
Yeah,
so, like, that's something.
That is something that is very different, and like. But there are small tweaks to our personalities that are like slightly off that kind of like that make things very interesting, and it's not boring.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if it was like exactly me, like
But like so I grew up obviously knowing that Kevin was black and I was white. But like we both liked video games. I would come over to his house and play Tekken Tag all the time because I'm 28 years old. The game was really relevant at the time.
I like Tekken Tag.
Oh, dude, that game was so much fun. His grandma, which was his legal guardian when we were growing up, saw me as like her second baby, essentially. Like when she made plans for Kevin, I was included in those plans, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like when he went away to college, my mom told him like, you're as much a part of this family as anybody else. He was like, we were brothers essentially. Yeah. But I never had like that mindset of like, because I'm white and he's black, like that's a deal breaker. But I grew up all the time, like we would get on the bus together and there were other black kids or Hispanic or even other white kids that would refer to me as cracker. And it's like, I know that's like not the same thing as being called other like racial slurs, but I'm like, that's really demeaning because like I never have shown any level of like, hey, you're different than me, get over there. Yeah. Like if anything, I was always like, yo, I want as many different friends as possible because I just love like understanding other people's like cultural niches and stuff.
Maybe I shouldn't laugh at that stuff. I laugh at the N-word too. Because to me, it's
so antiquated to you that you're like, dude, really? That's what you have to go to?
It's like, it's like staring at like a fossil. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Insulting you, and it's
that's
funny.
What I was gonna say. Like, if you can, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I feel like it's honestly so telling of the person's like level of ability to come up with an insult. It's like, so you went with the dumbest, oldest possible baseless comment. It's like, it's right up there with mimicking somebody when you don't know how to annoy them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's 100%.
I'm like, oh, okay, kindergarten. Let's do this. All right, how about I beat your ass like we're in kindergarten?
Yeah. What's up, Curtis? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I almost worry sometimes though that my reaction to that is probably not appropriate.
I don't know, man. I think if it's like if you're not getting upset by it to where it's like ruining your day, I think anything is like healthy, to be honest.
It's just like it never upsets me because I've never been put in a situation. Well, I won't say
you've never been called that and felt like there was gonna be like any kind of like serious like consequences, so to speak.
Oh shit, dude, that's 3 subs in one night. That's wild.
We're breaking records.
We're breaking records. Thank you.
Would you like to be famous?
Would you like to be? Oh no, Curtis is one of the bots.
Oh god, no. Corey, wake up.
No, I won't say I've never been put in like racial like profile situations. Like I have, but I've never.
You've never felt like your life was at risk or anything like that. Or maybe you have, I don't know.
There's been times that where I'm like,
I'm a little uncomfortable.
I'm in enemy territory right now. I've told the story about when I went to a NASCAR race with my girlfriend at the time.
I thought you were going to talk about Willow Tree again.
No, that place is that's definitely. I don't feel like
you're not in enemy territory, but you're just like, oh, this is a little off.
What's odd about Willow Tree is I have a good time there until the chanting starts.
Oh, yeah.
Because then it just seems wrong.
Yeah.
It would be like if you were watching like
oh, please come up with the stereotype. I'm so ready.
Like
if I'm sitting in a wife beater drinking a natty
40.
light.
Yeah. No, it would be like if you were watching like Braveheart or something.
Okay.
And then like dude's going down the line of the soldiers and he's like doing his whole speech, and then there's just a black dude there.
Oh,
it's weird.
All right, I understand.
Like it's just strange. It's like
it's like the end of the Return of the King, and then
yeah.
like Aragorn's like slapping the swords or whatever to like get everyone pumped, and then it's just a black hobbit.
A Mr.
Like,
Popo is just standing there.
How did I not know about you the whole time?
It's just crazy.
Ooh, Mr. Popo, what an unfortunate occurrence. I do love those edits where he's blue. Those are incredible.
Yeah. They're just like, yeah, we fixed it. You're like,
no, you did not. That is not a good attempt.
Oh fuck, man. I don't know. I love that place because the food's so good. Oh, the Bridge series?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, dude. Just I love how everyone is so afraid of him, and then like you're like, well, why are they? And then like all it takes is like one episode. They're like, oh, he kills people.
He kills people.
Yeah,
he's just a murderer.
Yeah. But yeah, I wonder if that's the same for you. Like, so you like when you were with your friend Kevin, like, were there ever any situations where you looked around and things were happening, like? Because for me, I'm like you. The skin color was never the thing that like
it was the
cultural like differences that I was just like. But the problem was for me was my cultural differences were predominantly more white.
Yeah.
So when I was ever around like a very black cultural thing, I was like, this feels weird. Like,
oh, interesting.
So it was that's why I every time people are like.
So actually, you know what? I can understand that.
Yeah.
So to answer the first question, yes, because like I said, we were super close. So like, if there was a family gathering or something for like with Kevin's family, and him and I were hanging out, his grandma would just call my mom and be like, "Hey, we're taking Sam to like a family party with us." And I would show up there, and it was like I had. For the longest time, just had not been around that.
Yeah.
Because like, Cat Williams has a bit about it, but like black people sometimes party very differently than white people. So like, My mom, I'm sure, was concerned at first, like, oh, you're taking him to a party, like, is there going to be a lot of drinking and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
There's, like, that one uncle at a black people party that's like, this sounds so bad.
We're going to clip it and take it out of context.
Yeah, please do. But, like, there was always that one uncle that was, like you said, like, drinking a 40 or, like, lighting a blunt up outside. But other than that, it was a bunch of people playing cards.
Yeah,
like
cards.
His grandma and his mom and like their whole extended family's playing poker. There's like a bunch of kids in the other room like watching like Friday.
Yeah.
And then there was like that one kid that was like the social outcast of the group that was just playing like N64. He's like, I got episode 1 Pod Racer. Who wants it?
You pick up the sticks and he's like, this is my time.
Yeah.
And then he just
so like for a while I was like, I'm out of place here. And Kevin's like, nah, dude, like, they're just weird parties, dude. Yeah. Like, this is just what people do. It's kind of boring.
God, I hate that that's happening.
But. And it was funny because then, like, the food comes out and the food's good, so none of it matters.
Yeah, at that point, we're done.
But it's funny because then I would go to, like, family reunions with my mom's family, which... They're all from Georgia, and they're all like... My mom is not like this, by the way. My parents are both the exceptions in their family.
That's
like,
crazy.
They're super, like, progressive, artistic people. Everyone in my mom's family, for the most part, is, like, super backwoods. And, like, they're all super Christian fundamentalists. They all talk about how Harry Potter is the devil.
Ooh, interesting.
And they shoot their own dinner.
I can get behind that though.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
That last one, the other two are a little.
That's
weird.
Pretty cool. Yeah, like they're going camping every weekend. They're eating possum.
I don't know about the possum.
Yeah. But yeah, like they go to monster truck rallies, and it like especially by the time where I was in high school, where I was starting to like formulate my own personality.
Right.
I'd look around and be like, I know I'm related to them, and like I know a lot of white people like this, but this shit is stupid as fuck to me. And, like, so, yeah, I absolutely understand that. Like, it's so much the, like, nature versus nurture thing. Like, I'm like, I know I'm supposed to care about this, but I actually care about the opposite of this more now.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't care about, like, there was, I would never say I didn't care about hip-hop altogether, but there was definitely something about it that, like...
Oh, I hate country music, dude. Like, I just cannot... Brad Paisley's fine and Johnny Cash is fine. That's about it for me, dude. And Willie Nelson.
I can't really name a country song that I like, but I've heard country songs that I'm like, I don't hate this, but there's a difference for me between I don't hate this and I'm turning up Shazam to figure out what the song is, and so I can download it.
I mean,
like,
you've probably up Country Roads when it's come on, dude.
Nah, I hate that.
What?
Song. What about the Lil Nas or whatever?
No, that's Old Town Road.
Oh, I was like, Country Roads.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Nah, not really.
That song's a bop, dude.
It's a good song, but it's also not like a song that I'm like,
that's fair.
Turn that up. Like, I don't know. I've also realized in 2020 that my taste in music is so, and I know people say this shit because it's super neat, like hipster shit to say, but my taste in music is generally very niche.
You know what? I'm going to say something that's also
niche.
Super hipsterish.
Yeah.
But, like, I've always been like that to a degree just because, like, I have that problem where if someone hypes something up for me too much, I immediately hate it.
Yeah.
Like, not like I hate it because I'm like, it's too mainstream, I have to be cool.
Yeah.
But, like, people will hype stuff up and then I'll listen to it and I'm immediately underwhelmed. I'm like, I mean... There's something here, but it's definitely not what you thought it was.
And I've noticed that when I share what I listen to other people. I remember going out to eat with my friend, and
I'm so weird about sharing music with people.
Same, I am now. I am now. I was kind of like I do it with like very close friends. I'm like, this is the shit I listen to.
Yeah,
and then because in my
super personal.
Yeah, because in my head it means something so much to me, and then like when I share it to them, they're just like, all right, and I'm like. Okay. All right.
You could tell.
And there's no way to explain that. Like, there's no way to like really, without. You know what? Maybe I should try that.
And it's funny now because a lot of the artists I listen to are like pretty mainstream by comparison to like the type of shit I would listen to when I was like early 20s.
Let's do this shit, dude. All right, I'm gonna pull up my list here.
Okay.
We're gonna name some names.
All right.
Holy shit! There's a lot of shit going on here. What's happening here? Holy. Okay, cool. Sorry, Instagram was doing weird.
You're trying to get famous.
Yeah, the bots, they showed up.
The bots are in here.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, brother.
Okay, so I'm gonna get. So I predominantly listen to music through YouTube Music.
Yeah, I do a lot too.
I pay the $10 for the YouTube Premium, and I get
so that you can turn your phone off and
so
it still keeps going.
That's the main. That's the only reason.
Shit is annoying, dude.
But because I do that, I get YouTube Music, and I can download music for free.
It's
so
probably worth it. Music. I mean, YouTube. Honestly, I know that sounds super dumb, but like that's the most music you can have because like they're really not tied down by the license like fucking Amazon is and like all these other places.
It's convenient for me. All right, so I'm gonna go through the most predominant artist on my list right now.
Okay,
is a band called Rainbow Kitten Surprise. Exactly. No one knows who that is. Like, no, and that's fine.
I mean, I haven't. I'm interested. Have you heard of Ninja Sex Party?
I have heard of Ninja Sex Party.
Cool.
But that is so different than this.
Yeah.
Like it
I'm not saying because they both have weird names.
Yeah,
I expect them to be the same. But like, I get what you're saying.
I remember telling somebody about them because the first song I heard from them was this song called Cocaine Jesus. And it starts off so odd.
Okay, so I've heard something about this song.
Okay.
I had never heard the artist name before.
Yeah.
But someone I think specifically posted something about this song recently.
It's a really fucking good song. And then
I'm gonna go home and listen to it. I'm gonna be like, it's shit, Joe.
I'm gonna play it on the way home when I'm taking you home so you can hear it. Which is something I've stopped doing too. Is like when I have
listening to music in the car.
While I have other people in.
Yeah,
dude. When I'm in the car by myself, I'm singing these songs. Like
that
is literally, I'm just me like going town. There's so many really good songs that they have. There's another artist, Matt Mason. I'm really like I love a lot of his stuff.
But I don't think I've like sat down and listened to him.
Sun Lux is a band that I listen to every now and then. Their music is very specific, I guess. AJR, like their stuff. Some 21 Pilots on here.
Okay.
NF is when it comes to hip hop. I don't listen to a lot of hip hop. Joyner Lucas and NF are like basically the only two people that I listen to.
Okay. I'm pretty old school with hip hop. I mostly listen to like Biggie. I do like Nas, and I'll listen to the only like newer artists I listen to are like Drake and Tyler the Creator.
Just Tyler the Creator,
There's so much. We're in like, and this is a good thing, but we're in like just this insane era of hip hop exposure, which is awesome because there's a lot of really good stuff. I think my dad actually listens to more hip hop than I. My dad told me to listen to the new Childish Gambino album.
Oh my
He was
God.
like, "Yeah, it's incredible." I'm like, "You're
60
years old, dude."
That's dope though. That's
it's awesome.
Cool.
Like I love that he's still like making that attempt. I think probably more so now that he's playing stuff again because like it inspires him.
Yeah, you get different information. Yeah, you actually make some really cool stuff. I'm only gonna name a couple more. Hosier.
Oh yeah, I mean that "Take Me to Church" song was everywhere for a while, and then I think everyone just dove into
found out the rest of his stuff. And you're like, oh cool.
Oh, it's all good.
It's all good though.
Unlike I think a lot of people went down the Gautier rabbit hole, and they're like, this is all mediocre.
Yeah, that's exactly true. I definitely listened to like two other songs. I don't even remember the name of them more, but I remember listening to them like they're all not good.
They're not like
they're
offensively
not
bad, but it's very much like you're like, I can see someone making this with just like. They downloaded Pro Tools and they're like, I have some decent.
I did it.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. It was on a. This is interesting to go scrolling through this list of all of my liked songs because I know where my headspace was when I did it, and it's crazy. I have a lot of Sia in here too.
I do like Sia.
Sia.
Have I shown you that Elastic Heart cover?
Maybe not.
There's like it's I think the band's called Raised by Wolves. There's or it's written by wolves. They do like a really weird like indie, almost like tribal beat version of that song.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. I mean, we can listen to it later or it might get awkward. I don't know.
The thing about her specifically, it's a technical thing.
Yeah. Oh, like, dude, she has an incredible range.
Crazy. Yeah. Like actually, like, and it's more of like
that's what's interesting about the cover because it's a male vocalist. So like, in order for him to like get up there. It's not like metal screaming, but he has to get up into like the shouting range because most guys' voices just can't do that.
Yeah, I love unique voices.
Yeah,
like I love unique talent. But yeah, like I guess so. In doing that, I'm realizing that there are some aspects of my taste that aren't as niche.
Yeah, but there's plenty that are. You're like, yeah, I know you're not going to care about.
Yeah,
this.
You're not going to give two shits.
Yeah.
Part of the reason Rainbow Kitten Surprise and they're easily like my favorite band right now. Like at the moment, they by far. And they do both of those things. All of their songs are very unique. All of their songs have like a really, really good, deep meaning behind them.
Yeah. And
the main vocalist has a very unique sound.
Yeah, I mean that's always before. Like a
so it hits all three.
Yeah.
Like you're just like
you can make up for having shitty musicians in your band, but if you have a shitty vocalist or even just like a very like run-of-the-mill mundane vocalist, it's like it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying, there's just music is easier to make now than it ever has been.
Literally, Steve Curtis was like,
SoundCloud's ruined rap. Yeah, because everyone that knows how to rhyme words is like, I can be a SoundCloud rapper, dude.
There's a Twitch streamer. He's pretty popular. His name is Pokelols. I don't know if you've heard of him, but
he does it for the memes.
Well, he did one for them. He was in a Escape from Tarkov lobby, like waiting to queue up.
Yeah,
and so he made this like song. It was like it's supposed to be rap or whatever, but it's so bad it's good.
Yeah,
it's really actually that one I could probably find and play. Let me see.
I do love that shit, dude. Where I can just laugh at it.
It's so funny.
But yeah, it's funny because a lot of the artists I listen to now,
let me see if I can do this,
as far as popularity goes, are like well out of their prime. But it's like I'm like, dude, they're making some of their best music now that none of you guys are listening to them anymore.
They've done it.
Well, because they did all that shit where it was like, hey, we need to get you on the radio, so you need to write in this style, and they're like, okay, we have enough money. We've been on the radio. We could just do whatever.
So can we just do a thing now?
Like, one of my favorite bands / artists is Deftones. I saw them live a couple of years ago, and it was probably the best concert I've ever been to. And dude, they play like 3 hits, and then they play a bunch of songs that no one wants to hear, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck you. You bought tickets already.
You're here now."
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can find this song. It's so funny, dude. I did it. I messed up. I bring up the restream chat. Okay, Pokey.
Yo, Chrome didn't shut down correctly.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to type here. Can I do that?
Now loading Warframe.
Oh no.
Pokewall's girlfriend is a top search.
Oh boy, that's rough. I don't want to know who that is actually.
Pokimane.
Oh, there, we found it, boys.
We found the connection.
Found her. Dude, that's been like all of Twitch chat the last couple of days. It's just people trying to figure out who Pokimane's boyfriend is, or if she even has a boyfriend.
I got something to tell you.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
He's like, it's me.
You're not gonna see me at our job anymore.
Okay. It's like, it's me. I have all the money now.
Yeah, my stimulus package. Let me tell you. When you have to make the decision of do I buy a new queen size mattress or do I want to eat this week, I don't think you're dating Pokimane. I'm just saying.
This is it. Oh man, and I have to change it for.
Are we gonna get the channel banned?
No.
Okay.
So I wanted to play some of the music that I was talking about before.
Yeah.
But I couldn't play that because that definitely would get
that'll get
DMCA.
hit. Okay.
But this is just literally him making.
It's
stuff.
just content creation.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm gonna turn this up, and hopefully it plays through. If it doesn't, I'll be a little sad.
Today a bird flew into my window and died. Then I took my ice cream and I sat there and cried. Then I fucked her bitch and her pussy and all that. That's how I do it. Yeah, fuck that shit. Yeah, I fuck that shit and I really do not care. Do not talk to me unless you have stupid long hair. My life is scary movie. Like
the best part is the Twitch chat. They're just like,
it's blowing
they're like,
up.
We love this shit.
It's like watching the Walmart live stream.
Yeah.
Give me a job.
Ice cream and I cry. Yeah, my girl's a Negro, but Okay. When I was a kid, one time I thought I was gay. My teacher failed me, but he said it'll be okay. Sometimes I watch Steve put MREs on the tray. I got server connections.
I don't know. It's so good.
Keep the phone lines open, bro. Eminem's about
yeah,
to call.
dude.
He told me.
Every time, all the other streamers that have reacted to this thing, they're all just like, you know, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
It's actually really funny. Like, it's just really.
Oh, it's
really
quality
funny.
content, dude. Yeah. I guarantee you,
I've heard that.
You got a ton of views.
It's so good. It's so funny, dude.
His channel's about to blow up.
Oh man. But it's midnight. We should probably find
a wrapping up spot.
Yeah.
I feel like we jumped around so much.
That's just about anything, though.
Cool.
Like, yeah.
I was like, I don't know if you wanted to like make a bunch of headway on any one topic or anything.
No.
All right.
That's why we can do part 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can always come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's fine.
Do you want to see if like anyone in the chat like
sure,
wants to ask
if you have
before we sign out?
Yeah, that's you're right. I know I have been doing that every time we've been doing it live. So yeah, if there's any questions, throw them in there. We'll get to them.
As long as it doesn't get Joe's channel banned, I will answer any question. Yeah. Not that anyone gives a shit about what I have to say or like.
Also, not that anyone's really paying attention to my channel.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I could probably get away with some stuff. Yeah, not saying I want to, but
the chat's been pretty active.
Yeah,
so.
Which is dope. I appreciate it. That's always like the fear that any streamer has. Is
anyone actually going to watch this?
Is anyone going to watch? Not even just watch it. Is anyone even going to interact with it?
Yeah.
Which I guess
I'm sure when the channel's like brand new, that's like really tough because you really just have to like
for months. Maybe you can go with nothing. And
yeah, that would be tough because like that's such. I think especially with current streaming with like the lack of face-to-face interaction.
Yo.
You're really reliant on like your talking points coming, at least some of them from this.
Yep.
So if you don't have that, you're just like, okay, now I'm gonna drink this, and you're gonna watch. There's 0 viewers.
All right, so no one's watching,
yeah.
And you fucking pass out. I get to cheat because I have you guys here.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's always
sure. That's like a good bouncing off point. It's got to be super tough for people that are like just streaming
games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, man,
unless you're doing like a let's play style where you're only talking about what's happening in the game,
which I think that's the best way to do it.
Really fucking tough. Though,
but I think that's the best way to do it when you're first starting off.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't have a huge channel, but if people ask,
intimate.
It's a tiny little group, and I kind of like that too. But when people ask like, "Oh, I want to stream games, Joe, what should I do?" and I say, "Oh, you want to stream on Twitch? You also want a YouTube channel because the only reason I say that is because unless I think that person can drive the like conversation and will have an audience immediately, most people are not.
Do you think it's like better with that scenario? Not because I'm thinking about starting up a stream.
It's because he's thinking about starting up a stream.
It is being talked about. But do you think it's better like for right now anyways, for people that want to specifically stream video games to honestly go the route of like I'm just going to upload it after the fact and then see how the response is.
So the reason
then move into live streaming later
on. So if you want to do both, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do both.
Yeah.
But I think you
go into the mindset of like I'm not going to get a response from the chat, so I'm just going to do it as a let's play.
And because you do it as a let's play, it means that you're saying something.
Yeah,
you're actively
you have
streaming.
Product knowledge.
Right. You're constantly saying something because nothing's worse than coming into a stream of a smaller channel that you see the thumbnail and you're just like, oh, let me see what's going on. And you click on there and the person's just like.
Or it's like a friend of yours, so you're like, oh, I'm gonna check it out.
Let me check it out, and then it's just
you're like, fuck, dude, I want to support him, but like they're doing nothing.
Yeah, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you can alleviate that by going into the stream with the mindset of like, oh, well, I'm also recording this so I can upload to YouTube.
Right.
So you're talking to people that aren't there yet.
Yeah.
So like
for sure.
that's the way I normally am like do that. Now there are some exceptions to that. There are some people that I know for a fact when they stream, they're gonna have people.
Yeah.
Like Leia's one of those people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like her first stream had more people watching than I average do. So
and that could also be because it was her first stream. So
that's true too.
Like, we need to check this out.
Yeah.
You know.
But I also think she has that type of personality that like
Leia is Leia.
Yeah. She's gonna be fine streaming.
Yeah,
like that's not gonna be an issue for her.
Yeah, for sure.
So there are certain people like that works for. But I think generally speaking, going in with the mindset of like I'm doing this as a recording is probably the best way to go.
I definitely think that's a good way to like gauge whether you're like more suited to one or the other too. Because I have like there's people on YouTube that I'm like a Patreon for.
Yep, same.
That I'm like, man, their pre-recorded stuff is incredible. Like some of the best content. And then because that stuff goes well, they're like, okay, I'm gonna live stream, and then you watch it and like, this is not your forte, dude.
This is bad.
And I get why they're doing it because they just want to keep putting out content for their Patreons and stuff. But it's also like, there's nothing wrong with just being like, I'm just gonna play to my strength.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And no one's asked any questions, which is fine.
All right, everybody, fuck off.
Thanks again for watching. You can find this on SoundCloud. Oh no, not SoundCloud. I don't have it on SoundCloud. I'm lying.
It's gonna be on SoundCloud as a rap now.
Yeah, with I'll find some way to like auto tune this. But no, it's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple, iTunes,
Apple Maps.
Apple Maps. It's on there. Go check it out. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Sam, for coming. Appreciate
thank
it,
you, man.
We'll do it again.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's it. Take care. Peace. Okay, I don't have music this time though.